Okay. Hey everybody, guess what? We are back. This is African Frame Podcast. If you're new to the channel, thanks for checking us out. Basically, what this podcast is about is we are dissecting movies, man. We love movies from any genre, to be honest with you, whether it's action, mystery, crime, whether it's comedy, whether it's rom-coms, chick flicks, whatever, animated. We just love watching films. I'm not alone as usual. I do have my co-host. He's an author, he's a director. He is a film connoisseur, yes, you could say. Rob Siveko. Um, and we are going to be talking about another war film. I mean, the previous video that we did was Full Metal Jacket. So now we're doing Basic, which is a film starring John Travolta. John Travolta has been in a lot of films, including Blowout, Bubble Boy, Look Who's Talking, Pulp Fiction, um, The Punisher, Friday Night Lights. No, Friday Night Fever, right?
Saturday Night Fever.
Saturday Night Fever. What's that one? Hairspray. Hairspray.
Yes.
So he's been in quite a lot of films. He's a leading man. He's the guy that you call. I do know at a point Hollywood was skeptical about casting him, especially after he did those Locos Talking films. But after doing Pulp Fiction with Tarantino, yeah, the calls started coming back in, And you do have his co-star from Pulp Fiction, Samuel L. Jackson. He's also in this film. I mean, Samuel L. Jackson is one of the highest grossing film actors of our time. He's done way too many characters. Jules from Pulp Fiction. He was in The Negotiator. He's Nick Fury in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. He was in Django. He's in a lot of Tarantino and Spike Lee films. That's Tarantino. Do you want to mention some of the people, Rob?
What the other people?
Wow. I think you mentioned Rosalind Sanchez.
Yeah, Rosalind Sanchez. I don't know their movies like that you do.
Rush Hour 2.
Yes. It's Tayediggs.
Yes.
Tayediggs.
So was in
Save the Last Dance 1 and 2, I believe. Is that him?
No. Save the Last Dance is Sean Patrick Thomas. Tayediggs was in Brown Sugar. He was in The Best Man. I think that's the one you're talking about. Best Man 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
How Stella Got Her Groove Back.
Was he also in that other Beverly Hills Gangster or something like that? What is it called again? The comedy with the white guy. Look.
Is it a movie or a series?
It's a movie. Where he's like playing an actor that's a fake rapper that's trying to convince this white kid that he's not gangster. But then the white kid ends up getting taken by real gangsters.
Malibu's Most Wanted. Was he there?
Yes, Malibu's. I'm pretty sure that it's Anthony Anderson and Tayediggs who were the two fake gangsters.
I don't remember that movie that much, but I do remember the plot.
Yeah.
But yeah, he's done a lot of movies.
Yeah.
And most of his movies are really good.
Yeah.
And then you have
Giovanni Ribisi is a good one.
Yes. So Giovanni Ribisi is in Avatar, the first one, 2012. Mm-hmm. I think he's in the Fast and Furious, the first one, right?
No, that's someone else. I know you're thinking of. That's that guy playing mouse. Someone else.
Was he in Gone in 60 Seconds?
Yes.
He is in Keen's Crystal Ball music video. He's in a movie with Halle Berry. Remember that movie? I think it's The Perfect Match or something like that. I forgot the title. With Bruce Willis as well in that movie. I mean, he was in Friends as well. Saving Private Ryan. Oh, it's The Perfect Stranger. That's the movie I'm talking about.
Friends.
Yeah, he was in Friends. Don't you remember? He was Phoebe's brother or something, and then he asked Phoebe to basically be like a surrogate mother or something like that.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah.
And then he was also in My Name is Earl. So yeah, and then you also have, I think just
Tim Daly.
Just to go back to Rosaline
Yeah.
Sanchez, because I feel like we didn't give her enough credit. She was
Yeah.
in Without a Trace, Devious Maids. She was in that music video, You Make Me Better with Fabulous. And I think she was also in Chasing Puppy. I don't know if you remember Chasing Puppy. That's where most people actually met or got to know of Sofia Vergara.
I don't
Um,
know.
yeah, then you have Harry Connick Jr., who plays a doctor in this film.
Yeah.
He was in,
Wilma.
yeah, he was in Will and Grace, if you remember Will and Grace.
Yeah, of course I do.
Yeah, he was also in Independence Day.
And he's got his own music career.
He's a singer.
But yes, yeah, he's a singer. He does like Michael Bublé type stuff.
Oh, really?
That's
Oh,
yeah. Actually, know him more like that.
oh, I know
Yeah,
him more of the guy who usually does like comedy. Because I
yeah.
saw him in Will and Grace, and then I also saw him in P.S. I Love You, and he was funny in there. I didn't know he was
Hmm.
a singer though.
Yeah,
Uh,
man can sing. I used to work at
wow.
Musica, so yeah.
He used to work where?
Remember, I used to work at Musica, a
Oh,
music
yeah, yeah.
store.
Right.
So we'd have to like play music, and yeah, man's got his own albums.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
Uh, and then there's Brian Holt.
Yes.
Uh,
Danra. Yeah.
oh, yeah, Brian Van Holt. I love this guy, man. I am actually familiar with him from a sitcom called Cougar Town, where he
Yeah.
did this game called Cat Pen in the Can. Funny guy, but you can see that he
Yeah.
is one of the. I guess you could say that he is one of the people you would consider to play a soldier in a movie. He just has
Oh
that.
yeah.
He has the
He's got a
soul.
tough guy face, and
Yeah.
it's pretty big as well.
Yes. And to add on to that, even what's this guy's name again? I'll tell you just now.
Dash. Uh-huh.
Yeah, Dash. Dash is also
Yeah.
like I'm even surprised that they didn't make them brothers in this movie. These guys basically look the same. They're both
Yeah,
big,
they look pretty similar, yeah.
you
But
know.
I think Dash always plays like a dumb guy in all the movies.
Yes, because if you okay, let me just speak about the movie where not the movie, but the series where I know him from. I know
Hmm.
him from Ray Donovan, where he plays Bungie.
Oh.
One of Ray Donovan's brothers. So that character in that thing, he was like those altar boys in a specific church that I won't name, where they get molested and stuff. So
Yeah, okay.
he gets so traumatized by it that he doesn't do anything with his life.
Um,
Doesn't get a job like a proper job or anything. So it's
yeah,
like yeah, it's messed up, man. Um, it's called sexual anorexia, I think, because he was sexually abused as a child. So yeah.
okay.
I think he did a movie with Denzel, or am I mistaking him for
I
some?
think you're right. I think you're right. I
Mm,
just don't know what movie though.
yeah, yeah.
Wasn't Siege? It might have been Siege. The one
CG.
with Bruce Willis. I'm not sure, but I
Oh,
know him from a couple things. I'm not sure what though. I don't
right.
have the IMDb in front of me, but he's a face that you recognize.
Yeah, he was in The Day After Tomorrow with Keanu Reeves.
Mm.
The Perfect Storm, I Am Legend, Silver Linings Playbook. Like he
He's
appears.
in I Am Legend. I
Pardon?
didn't see that. I Am Legend.
I'm assuming that he probably played the CGI guy, the CGI character, maybe, or maybe in those flashback scenes, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah,
That's surprising.
it
See
is.
the movie a dozen times.
Yeah, and
Again,
he was in
yeah.
Punisher Warzone as well.
Okay, that makes more sense. Yes, that's
And then
something I know him the best.
we have Tim Daly. So before I get into any live action stuff that he has done, can we just give this man his flowers? This man voiced Superman in the 90s, man. He's an honorary Superman. We
Ah,
like giving Brendan Routh, Dean Cain, Tom
mm,
Welling, Henry Cavill their flowers, but we need to give
mm,
Tim Daly his flowers. I do know that George Newbern also voiced Superman, but the
mhm.
Superman animated series was voiced by Tim Daly. So him and Kevin Conroy, man, they used to, yeah, they were the guys. And I think he has a series on YouTube where he's just doing some funny stuff with his son, pretending to be.
Really?
Yeah, it's really, really funny. I know
That's cool.
he was also in Private Practice, which is a spin-off of Grey's Anatomy.
Ah, yes. Now,
Yes, and his sister is what's her name again? I think it's Tyen Daly. She was in Judging Amy. Do you remember the series called Judging Amy?
I remember the name. I just never actually watched it. But yeah,
Yes, yeah. So, and I think she was in one of the sequels of Dirty Harry. I forgot what it was called. That lady. Yeah. I'm not sure if
okay.
I'm forgetting anybody.
Can you do Cristiana Del Fuente?
Oh, is it the Spanish guy?
Castro. Yeah, Castro.
Wait. I need to do Connie Nielsen, I think. The blonde
Yes,
lady.
of course, the actual lead. Yeah,
Yeah, the female lead,
main
right? So
character. Yes.
she is actually Wonder Woman's mother in the Wonder Woman films.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And then she was in Law and Order Special Victims Unit.
Uh-huh.
She was in a Fox crime thriller series called The Following. She was in a drama series called Close to Me. She was in Nymphomaniac, 3 Days to Kill, 1 Hour Photo. She was in Gladiator as Lucilla.
Yes.
So
Yes.
that's her. What a beautiful woman, man.
Yeah,
Really liked
absolutely.
the character in here because she was badass.
Yeah, she was.
Yeah, she was quite badass. What's that other guy's name again? I think I know this guy. I just don't remember where I saw him. Was he not in Aliens versus Predator? Um,
I don't know. Because I know his face as well. I just can't tie anything to him. I know
so,
he's done stuff too.
so let's see. He was in geez, I think he's doing more. Or let's see. He was in Hope and Faith. I don't know if you know Hope and Faith. It was a sitcom.
Yeah. No, I don't know that one.
He was in CSI Miami. He was in
Okay.
um, Eve. I think this is Eve with the rapper Eve. He was in The
Okay,
Class.
yes.
The Class was a
Oh,
sitcom. He was in Ugly Betty. He was in Psych. Um,
maybe I know him from Psych. Yeah.
yeah, because Psych is a funny.
It's hilarious,
He was
man.
also in Private Practice.
Oh,
Yeah.
more than one reunion. Okay, that's cool.
And he was in okay, I think I mentioned Ugly Betty, right?
Yes.
He was also in One on One. You remember the sitcom called One on One?
Mm.
Yeah, he was in the with
Okay.
Flex Alexander and Kyla Pratt. Um, yeah, apparently he served in the Chilean Air Force Reserve prior to attending the um, some Catholic University of Chile, and
All right. Well,
he pursued a degree in civil engineering.
oh wow. So then I was like, okay, like Ashton Kutcher, okay, like or like Shakira, and those ones were like they're like actually well studied in other things as well. You know what I mean?
Even Natalie Portman and Dolph Lundgren,
Mm.
I think.
Yes, Dolph Lundgren is probably the most surprising one out of all of them. Like, what a
But
chemical engineering or some shit like that. Yeah,
is it really surprising though? Because if you look at some of his earlier work, I mean, do you remember Showdown in Little Tokyo?
of course.
That character in there was very smart.
Yeah, but when he says smart things, the way it sounds, you're like, is it a smart thing when
Yeah.
he's saying it?
Yeah, no, I
Do you
get
know
you.
what I mean?
Get you.
It's like the James Bond with where they make that supermodel a rocket scientist, and then everyone's like, I don't believe this. Do you know what I mean?
No, I get. I guess you could say that he is more like the John Cena that we have now before John Cena.
Yeah,
Minus a lot of comedy. It's like the big, buff, blonde guy
which
who.
is funny because actually, yeah, a lot of those comedian types tend to actually be really clever, and I
Yeah,
feel like he fits in. Probably, I'm sure if he did comedy, he'd turn out to actually be really good at it or something like that. Because
I
you know,
think.
it was like, yeah,
I genuinely think so.
yeah,
Yeah. So I think we mentioned all of
yeah,
them. Right? I'm not leaving
yeah,
any behind. Yeah.
yeah. Just maybe John McTiernan, the director,
Oh yeah. Oh man. He was involved in
one of the
uh
greatest directors of the '90s and the '80s. Yeah,
definitely. I mean, he directed Predator. He
yeah,
directed Die Hard.
Die Hard.
He
Mm-hmm.
directed The Hunt for Red October.
Yep.
He directed The Last Action Hero.
Mm-hmm.
Directed Die Hard with a Vengeance. He directed The 13th Warrior, the Thomas Crown Affair, and he did Basic.
Yep. And apparently this was his last movie before he
Did
went to jail.
he get arrested or something? Yeah.
Yeah, he went to jail. Yeah.
Gosh.
Spying on his wife. And because he didn't, yeah, that was a whole drama. Which is a shame because the man, you can tell he's still a good director, even with this one. There's,
Yeah.
there's a style to his directing, I think, an
Okay.
energy to it. Yeah. That really catches you by surprise, I think.
Right.
The cuts that are in there, I think what he is probably a more experimental director than I think people give him credit for.
Okay.
But also he's got cool. Oh God, man's got clever camera work. Like there's some stuff he'll do that kind of reminds me of De Palma, where like there'll be things where like there'll be moving objects with the blocking and the positioning and the cameras over here and looking over there and there's a person coming out from the background and it's the kind of stuff that if you watch Mission Impossible and De Palma movies, you kind of see that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Being done.
For those that don't know, he's referring to Brian De Palma. So if
Yeah.
you keep saying, just know that he's referring to Brian De Palma. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's just yeah, I love this man so much.
Right.
I would almost put him above things. I think I put him on the same level as what's Ridley Scott's brother,
Tony.
Tony Scott, on the
Right.
same level. I think they make similar movies, but I think McTiernan's movies keep winning. If that makes sense, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like that feud between Stallone and Schwarzenegger.
Yes. Yeah.
Stallone sometimes would force a movie, but it doesn't land like Arnold's movies, or vice versa. Yeah. Yeah.
I think that's what happened here. And I feel like, well, I mean, obviously they're not beefing or anything, but I think they have like this very similar. And I feel like they almost defined the 80s and the 90s with their style of filmmaking. You know what I mean?
Definitely. I think
Yeah.
you can also maybe add Richard Donner there. I do know that Richard Donner started way earlier than them because I mean he did Superman in the 70s.
Yeah.
But when you look at those Lethal Weapon movies,
Oh, yes. There's a whole discussion on, there's a thing with Mel Gibson talking about him, and I just broke my heart.
mm,
That man, genius as well.
yeah.
Those, yeah, yeah. We could talk about 90s directors and 80s directors, definitely, man.
Yeah, look, that in its own can be a whole
Yeah,
discussion. It can be a whole episode. Yeah.
absolutely. Because I feel like it's almost unfair to include people like Ridley Scott and people like James Cameron in that grouping because I feel like their stories are kind of unique in their
Yes.
scale. Like they're almost too grand to be compared with Die Hard.
Yeah. Even Spielberg, you should include Spielberg in that category as well because De Palma when he did Blade Runner and Cameron's Aliens and
With De Palma, don't you mean Ridley?
sorry, not De Palma, sorry, I meant Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
Ridley Scott's Blade Runner.
Yeah.
Then you have James Cameron's Aliens or Terminator.
Yes.
Then you have Spielberg's Jurassic Park.
Yes.
You cannot compare that to a Jingle bells, jingle bells, jingle yippee. No, you can't. You know.
You can't, what was that show? Who directed? Actually, look that up. Who directed the Schwarzenegger one where it's Schwarzenegger versus Cedric, not Cedric the Entertainer, Sinbad. I wonder who directed that one because that was actually not a bad movie, but 100% 90s at its finest. You know what I'm talking about? Where they're fighting for a toy.
No, I don't know that movie. Schwarzenegger and Sinbad.
Yes, Sinbad, the comedian.
Oh, yeah. I'm familiar with Sinbad. I didn't even know that movie exists.
Are you being serious?
Serious.
There's a scene where Schwarzenegger, you watch a trailer where you see Schwarzenegger being chased by a bunch of Santa Clauses. It's the funniest thing. Santa Clauses. Wasn't that?
Is it not? Okay, because I wanted to ask if it's Kindergarten Cop. It's not Kindergarten Cop.
In that time period, we were still experimenting with some of the less serious stuff.
And it's not The Last Action Hero.
No. That's something else.
Then I don't know it.
Damn it. Oh, you're ruining me right now because it's one of my favorite movies. See, this is a guilty pleasure. That's also a guilty pleasure.
Yeah.
Because it's silly, but it's fantastic. Like it's like people don't give it enough credit. Let's put it like that. It's underrated with how good it is. But yeah.
So they are co-leads in that movie.
Yes.
Oh, it's called Jingle All the Way.
I think so. Yes. Yes.
Jingle All the Way.
There's Schwarzenegger is one of those typical bad dads, the ones that are too busy for their kid.
Yeah.
Typical storyline. And then he's got one chance to kind of redeem himself because he promised his kid this special action figure. He's nowadays, before Amazon. So he has to hunt it down. And then the last father standing is him and Sinbad, who's like a postman who's also trying to get it for his kid. Right. And they just, it is gangster beef as they run from store to store. It is hilarious, bruh. But I recommend.
I need to watch it.
But let's get back to it.
Yeah, no, that's definitely a story for another day. So yeah, not sure if we are forgetting anything.
I don't know. James Vanderbilt. It's a name that sounds familiar. James Vanderbilt. I'm not. The name sounds familiar, but I can't attach anything to.
Yeah, the name really sounds familiar. James Vanderbilt. It sounds familiar. He's best known for writing films Zodiac, The Amazing Spider-Man, Independence Day, Resurgence, Scream.
Jesus, this guy is on fire.
And it's 2023 sequel and also the Amazing Spider-Man sequel. He wrote The Rundown, The Losers, White House Down.
That's a roller coaster ride of movies right there. It's quality.
Murder Mystery 2.
Okay, not bad.
Yeah.
Well, he did pretty good on this one. I remember I read some information about him. He said when he wrote this film, he wanted to make a movie that messed up people. That was a challenge to people who always like, I know who the bad guy is in the first 5 minutes. That's what he said. He said he wrote this movie as a challenge to those guys. And I can definitely say I could not have guessed the ending.
Yeah, me too. I think you remember, think about it, around this time, and I think you and I really need to do an 80s movie episode, because what I'm gonna get to now will actually back up what I'm saying. Around this time, movies like The Usual Suspects, Scream, I Know What You Did Last Summer. There's a movie that I was thinking about just now.
These are more 90s, I feel like, but yeah, I'm understanding what you're saying.
Yes, these are definitely more 90s. There's another movie, man, that I'm where, it's like we started trying to, Along Came a Spider.
Oh yeah, the whodunits. Oh, there's a good writer there. What's his name? The Nice Guys writer. One of my favorite. Yeah. But yes, that was a good one.
Yeah, so these whodunit films where we are now trying to, sort of like read between the lines. So when
M. Night Shyamalan.
M. Night Shyamalan, he wrote that.
I'm saying those types of catch you by surprise twists.
Yeah, like a Sixth Sense type of situation. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. So, and obviously, if you're a cinephile like us, you've watched all those movies, so you think you know the patterns. And then this movie was designed to catch you out.
Yes. So, so I think maybe he realized that there was a trend about this, and then he just wanted to basically subvert expectations.
Oh, entirely possible, man. Yeah. I think that's really what happened. Yeah. Cool. Well, now, ironically, an hour in, we're going to officially start the movie. First play. Cool. I will start. The movie opens on a classic song called Maurice Ravel's Bolero. And it's an opens with a factoid designed to set up the theme and location at the same time, which is the canal, the theme being profit and death. The actual story starts on the 2-minute mark with a hurricane on a helicopter.
Yes.
It's a mission set in the worst possible conditions with ammo and a phosphorus grenade. One group on one side of the chopper, other on the other side. Then we get our logo, basic. And we see our first look at how hard ass Samuel Jackson is. Like, he's a badass. He's out here having a good time.
He's basically, laying down the law, letting these people know who he is, what they're about to get into. He's not looking for CCs. This is a mission. This is basically like a field test mission type of thing. And he's like, yo, I'm going to be monitoring you from above. And if you slip, we will see you sleeping.
Yep. And it's a kind of a worst case scenario. They did something similar. Funny enough, when you say, what's it, Crimson Dawn, which is Tony Scott. He did something similar with his characters where there was like a fire or something like that. But then he still had to test a drill at the same time because he was like, hey, the drills don't wait for your best conditions.
Yeah.
That's basically what's happening. Yeah.
Yes. Because I think even Samuel L. Jackson says it in this movie that, look, you think your enemy is going to be waiting for you to be comfortable? Yeah.
Cool. So 3 minutes, 35 seconds in, we cut to 17 hours later. Another chopper shows up. This one is coming to investigate the situation.
Right. And we see what Tim Daly, that's the guy that we see now.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Tim Daly, yes, who's playing Styles. That's his name. Styles. It is a holiday, the Day of the Dead. They make a note of that sound, it's very early. This is 2003, so it already started.
Right.
As it turns out, they are on a ranger training mission that is 6 hours behind schedule or behind the project.
Right.
Viewers, what's it? The new viewers show someone and show another. They show two people, one person carrying another person, and then firing live ammo. Cool. We cut to the 5-minute mark. We cut straight to a surgery, while a voiceover of the one who picked the surviving soldiers is yelling about the situation. There is chaos. A non-injured soldier is dragged by MPs and military police, and a J&L cut with a voiceover plays over our main character questioning the other main character. You know what a J&L cut is, people? For the people in the editing world, I guess most editors know what it is. Basically, the idea is in the editing, it's like slides like this, right? All your timelines.
Mm-hmm.
Cut the image, but then you leave the sound talking. It leaves a shape like an L. And if you cut the image, you cut the sound, but you leave the image, it's like a J. So it's like a Tetris piece. They call that a J&L cut. So in terms of film talk, you'll hear talking, but you won't see the right image. You'll see the image from the next scene so long.
Oh, I see what you mean.
Yeah, that's the J&L cut.
Oh, that's an interesting technique. I had no idea it's called that.
Yeah, it's a good way of transitioning. So you set up the scene before you even see it. Yeah. Questioning main character. It is, by the way, so far it's sharp, exciting storytelling. It gets us to set up, it gets us the full setup and where we need to be while max exposition. We know one commander and 6 men came in and only 2 men returned. One of them in good condition.
Right.
The man questioned says he will only talk to a ranger and writes an 8 symbol on the page.
At this point, we are on the edge of our seats because we're wondering what happened to these people. We just want to know what's going on. And we feel the pressure because Styles is basically looking for answers as quickly as possible because he has to report to his superiors. So they need to basically bring the guy that they're interrogating to his knees. So even though this guy says he only wants to speak to a ranger, they want answers as soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And yes, Osborne is our main lady. She's like calling bullshit on the situation. Osborne dismisses him, but Styles is pressed for time, like you said. And by the way, key point to notice is that the character known as Dunbar, that's the one that's been arrested and being questioned, says he doesn't trust anyone on the base. That's Dunbar. I feel like that's important to note.
Yeah.
Also, luckily for the situation, the perfect person just might be there. This undermines the Osborne, a lady who's likely fought for that spot.
Yes, because she's more than qualified for this. She got to this position by merit. It's not like they ran out of options and she's the only person they can use. She's qualified
Yeah,
for this
she's
position.
qualified and she believes in what she's doing, definitely.
Yes. Yes.
We once discussed why race and sex can matter in a movie.
Right.
Me do this privately. Remember I said it's one thing when like I say, hey, Kutso, man, you've got AIDS. It's another thing if I say, hey, Kutso, man, if a doctor says, hey, Kutso, man, you've got AIDS. Those are
Right.
two different things. So sometimes sex and race can matter very much in that spot in terms of adding context. Because in a movie this old, you can already fill in the potential gaps about a character. About how she maybe had to fight for that position, which is why she's so aggressive. She's not ready to the bat. We also see how completely stressed Styles is. At the 7-minute mark, we finally get our lead, Hardy. We get a lot of information here that is likely supposed to blow past you in your first watch. He's bathing at night because that's when nightlife starts. There's actually another clue there if you think about it.
Yeah. There's a lot of, and I think that was also deliberate. But we'll get there.
Yes. Yeah, because he's bathing and because
so Styles basically calls him, right?
Yes. No, not yet.
Oh, not yet. He was just getting a random call from someone else.
A lawyer base. Oh no, someone from the DEA. Yes. Yeah, I'm in the shower, so he might have a drinking problem. He what's it? He he counts down the rings to his calls, which kind of shows maybe he's a bit anal or something like that. Or rather, he's talking to women eager to get to him. He's a cool guy. He's a smooth ladies' man, which turns out to be, which plays out throughout the storyline. He's also down and dirty and can be serious when it comes to his job because he becomes serious in the phone call as soon as when they start talking.
Right. And he is one hell of a liar. He is such a liar, bro.
Yeah.
Because they show us things that, how can I put it? They show us things about him that he's talking about that's not true.
Yeah.
Because I think I asked him, "Are you drinking?" He's like, "No." You know, and he takes a drink immediately.
Yeah, that is funny for hell, man. Definitely. Cool.
Which
Then
is very important to the overall plot if you think about it, but we'll get there.
Because it sets up his character a lot very well. He's an alcoholic and a liar, and yes. Commander Styles calls him. Yeah, calls him. And he takes it serious because he knows when to be real.
Styles, sorry. I just want us to just say something very crucial there. Before he gets to answer Styles' phone call, the conversation between him and this lady from the DEA is he's being suspected of working with a drug dealer that they helped bust. Right?
Yes.
So he's being accused of being bribed by this drug dealer.
Yeah.
And he's pissed off about it because he thinks even if he's innocent, there will be reasonable doubt. Like people will really think that he did it.
And that becomes plot relevant.
Yes.
Funny because it turns out right now there's the surface level plot relevance. Then it turns out there's another level of plot relevance. But for now, for the flow of the storyline, this is perfect plot relevance, definitely. That moment is like everyone's gonna doubt me, and it comes back to play at least 3 times. It's crazy. Well, twice. Cool. Now we cut to Osborne, who's protesting, more of a voiceover, but Styles vouches for him. We get a well, here we go, blow in the first viewing that 9 days ago out of the blue. Oh yeah, this little thing that you should remember. We blow by it because if you're the first time viewer, you're not going to notice it. But Hardy says hello after years of not speaking to Styles. Just out of the blue. He says, hey, I'm a guy that conveniently fits all the criteria you're going to need.
Yes.
We haven't spoken in years. I met you at a parking lot out of the blue just to be like, hey, I'm around, and then doesn't talk to him. I just think that's a fun fact that I think if in your first watch, you will not pay attention to.
Who's Hardy?
Hardy is John Travolta's character.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. So basically, Styles meets John Travolta's character in a parking lot. And we get exposition, John Wick style, former army, disappeared, combined with the DEA phone call. So we know a little extra thing right now about the DEA.
So wait a minute. I'm trying to understand what you were saying about the height thing between the two characters.
What do you mean?
You're saying they haven't spoken in years.
Yes. And then out of the blue, when they were in a parking lot, Hardy says, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Anyway, this is who I am. Bye.
Who says that? Styles.
Styles says that, yes. In a small conversation, he says, look, this guy is perfect. He says literally, this guy is perfect. And then he gives a John Wick style introduction.
Oh, he's talking to yes,
about Hardy.
Oh yes. Yes.
And he's like, all these convenient things.
Right.
About, we need an interrogator who was a former ranger, who's not in face, and super skilled, that Styles already trusts.
Yes. And she's like, but you're not allowed to do that. You're not allowed to bring in someone who's no longer serving.
Yes. Okay. And he's like, we're going to make it unofficial then. That's all that happens.
Exactly. But we need answers, and we need them as soon as possible, because I have to report to my superiors. So if it means that I have to do things in an unorthodox manner, so be it.
Yes. But he's trying to sort the chaos out. And if you're paying attention after your third or fourth viewing, you'll notice that first of all, you'll understand why Styles is panicking, and you'll understand why Styles is so eager to work with him when you realize the DEA situation that's happening right now.
We'll get there. I mean, that's one of the big reveals, right? Yes.
9 years. Okay, yeah, 9-minute mark. We get extra. Okay, yeah, we did that already. Osborne and Hardy are not friends. Being passive aggressive with each other just off the bat, dude. They are not happy.
Yeah.
Hardy already knows West and doesn't like him. West being Samuel Jackson, by the way.
Yes.
But Osborne calls him the face of the whole operation. Like, Osborne has faith in West. Like she's like, no, this is one of our best. You know what I mean? He's the face of this organization. You know what I mean? Cool.
Can we say basically, what's the lady's name again?
Osborne, like Ozzy Osborne.
Okay, and then Travolta?
Hardy.
So
like, boys.
You see it in very small things, because there's a part where Hardy's is I think he took tobacco and he ate it.
Yeah. Stuff about that. Yeah.
You see Osborne just cringe, just like, he's one of those. He's one of those guys. You know what I mean? So she's not impressed at all.
Dude, when he grabs his balls, that's when she's not impressed.
Right.
Catching his balls, and she's just touched. Yep.
And he's actually not even bothered by this, because he knows that he didn't come for her. He wouldn't care less. They need him. He doesn't need them.
Exactly, which is pure. Sometimes it's so funny how sometimes what ends up happening, sometimes we try to make three-dimensional characters, right, when we're writing, and we end up making characters three-dimensional, that what we end up with so three-dimensional, what we end up with just a blob. Do you know what I mean? Yes. And what's so nice about this is this man has been exuding this one character the whole time.
Right.
But it all gets revealed a long time. But right now, we get a clear image of who Hardy is. The man who doesn't care about the system, the man who left, the man who,
And you could say that we are looking at him from her point of view, if you think
Yes.
about it.
Yes. I was gonna get into it
Because
later,
we
but yeah,
don't know him as much as she doesn't know him.
exactly. That is exactly right. This whole movie is
But
actually like
Styles knows him, right? Styles knows him, and Travolta
Mhm.
knows Styles, but we don't know anybody.
Yeah.
We're meeting all these three characters for the first time, so we're still trying to figure out what's going on, who's who, and all of that.
And we get a perfect image of West
Yes.
because we only get to see Osborne's viewing of West. Do you know what I mean? So right now we still get a perfect image of who West is.
Yes.
John
Yes.
Travolta already knows who West is.
Right.
So when we see more of John Travolta watching stuff, and then things get exposed, the image of West kind of changes. But yeah, we'll get there.
Sure.
Yeah, Hardy already knows West. Yeah, like Osborne calls him the face of a fucking yeah. Hardy denies the call to action, but Styles won't take no for an answer. Remember, Osborne doesn't want anything to do with Hardy. Hardy's something bigger and deeper and digs deep to find out where the commander's desperation is coming from. This creates a scene where the camera is active, sharp cuts, moving scenery. They're blocking. They move with each other. They physically leave
Yes.
Osborne behind.
Yes.
Stuff. And there's great action music going on.
Right, right. So, man, I like the fact that we are talking about blocking, which is something I think maybe we haven't really actually espoused properly
Yeah.
on the podcast. But
Mhm.
you can correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe blocking is where characters need to uh go like these that's the direction they have to take within a frame.
Yes, it's
Um,
their movement inside of a camera.
yes, yes, movement inside a camera. Yeah,
For example, Robin Williams, sometimes a lot of directors will do is they'll just let him go. So they're like, okay, we'll just follow you, bro. And then like
right,
the one cool scene where he's like packing, like they give him something to do. So like he'll make a sandwich and the camera will follow him making a sandwich while he's talking.
right,
Or like packing groceries while he's talking.
right.
Uh,
To make the scene feel natural, right?
but there are other people that you like De Palma who uses more very specific blocking. I believe De Palma is Ocean's 11, right?
No,
I'm
no,
not
that's Soderbergh.
okay. Then Mission Impossible, best example. When they after they get the disc and they're all like sitting in the different spots in the room, and then Thingamajig is like, I've got the disc, and then you see Tom Cruise like walking around
Right.
and doing the whole thing, and then he whips out an extra disc. He's like, "Are you sure you have the disc?" And stuff like that is relevant. Someone who also took blocking very seriously was the OG man himself or the man who did Vertigo. Not Orson Welles. Hitchcock did,
Alfred Hitchcock, yeah.
did blocking very seriously. So like when a man walks up and he's suddenly tall and the other guy is small, he walks up to the camera, he's tall like this, then he walks away, and then another person comes up and he's tall like that, and then maybe he moves to this angle, camera follows, now he's small again. Stuff like that. That's
Right.
blocking. That tells its own separate story.
And I think I don't know if this happens with every production, but I do know sometimes they actually have like certain like footprints that are laid
Yes.
to show who needs to step where and
It'll
yeah,
be something as simple as press stick. Not press stick, man. Tape, colored tape.
right.
It'll
Yes,
be something as simple as that. Yeah, on the
right,
floor.
right.
Is that way you can't bump into it, you can't kick it by mistake,
Yes,
stuck your toe and like that, and you can't trip over it. So
yeah,
yeah, tape more than enough to get you going.
right,
Like me, I can't afford fancy sliders and camera equipment. So what I do is I try to leave things to the actors, and I try to use blocking as my tool. So I put the camera in one place, and instead of me having to shift the camera into 7 different slots because there's not enough time, because you can't film for enough long enough, I'll have the characters step to the camera, step behind the camera, step to the camera, and then kind of move to them. Yeah, that's blocking, and that can make a scene very action packed,
yeah,
and it can relay emotions without you having to talk, which is
right.
always valuable. Cool. Yeah. So anyway, the mystery is
Yeah.
opening up constantly. There's always a new question being answered. By the way,
Yes.
always
Can I
question.
just can I just add something quickly that
Yes.
which is something you've mentioned, but I just want to reiterate that this is also a storytelling technique specifically here, because that blocking tells us, the audience, that they are basically shoving her, they're shoving her, like they're just leaving her behind. They're excluding her. They're excluding her from the conversation. It's like she's not even there, which is a bit misogynistic. It's patriarchy all over again.
Well, funny enough, actually, now that you say that, that's actually very, very good, because I think it's actually deeper than that. I think on the surface level, yes, you're supposed to think that. I feel like we're probably going to forget by the time we get there, but I think it plays into the whole DEA situation, because again, she called West the face of the military operation.
Yes.
She's the Boy Scout. If there's anyone who's uncorruptible, it's her.
Yes, because there's things by the book. She is very. It's as if she's wet behind the ears, but I think it's more about.
Yeah, she's more straightforward. It's not that she's naive or dumb. It's that she's incredibly intelligent, but incredibly straightforward.
She's like if Captain America was a woman in a movie like this.
Yes. And then everyone around them is basically Tony Stark, and they're like, "Nah, man, there are other ways of doing this."
Yes.
No.
Yes. Or Nick Fury.
Way. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Exactly. There's the way, and every other way is wrong.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
But that's on a second level. The first level is exactly what you said. A woman, kind of like Silence of the Lambs, where they did it brilliantly, where like sometimes they'd have Clarice looking small, and then like she would like try to get the attention of a bunch of policemen, and they're not listening to her. And then when they turn, they're looking down on her. They're literally looking, the camera's like this, they're looking down on her.
Right.
So there's this layer of that in this opener. But really, it's so clever. That's not what it's more to it. And there's this, right, again, I've mentioned Brandon Sanderson all the time, where he talks about twists, where he says that the trick about twists is not to subvert a person's expectations, like the Return of the Jedi style, because I'm always going to mention Star Wars in these things. But the idea is you should actually meet the expectation so well that you go beyond the expectation.
It's like when people thought that this is the tip of the mountain, they realize, oh, flip, there's another mountain just behind this one.
At a hill.
Yeah.
The twist, I'm looking at a hill. Yes. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
And that's happening here. This element of misogyny that we're talking about, that's the hill. We think it's the mountain. No, there's a massive Kilimanjaro's over there, buddy.
Right. Because also, if you think about it, Tom Hardy, not the actor, the character in this movie, played by Travolta, he is just talking to the person who called him. He's just following that guy.
Yeah.
That guy is walking, what that guy is doing, because that's who that's the person who called him. That's it.
Yeah. But also, we also know there's some shadiness to him and some things to him. Yes. And that's why he's there.
Right.
Yeah. Not just the fact that he's the best of the best, because she's probably the best of the best too. You know what I mean?
Right.
It turns out that Styles may be a lot less sexist than you think. Turns out he's just corrupt.
He's just corrupt, but on the surface, to her.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And to us, not to them. Well, yes, actually, no.
Because we are oblivious at this point.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
We really put Styles' objective. Like, we don't know his agenda. From our perspective, this guy's just under pressure to deliver.
Yes.
So he's doing the best that he possibly can, which is to do things, which is not to do things by the book. So we're looking at it from that front that, okay, maybe the reason he's doing this is because it's under wraps. There's certain things that he is privy to because he outranks her. So he doesn't want her to hear certain things. That's the impression that I was getting as I was watching this.
And you know what's funny is that now we discuss it, and we're going to discuss race later on. Now that we're discussing it like this, it's kind of giving me Get Out vibes. Do you know what I mean?
How so?
Get Out. It's more than just race. It uses race and the typical political talking points that we all know, right?
Right.
As a way against us in Get Out. Like at the end, you've watched Get Out, by the way. I'm not
Yes.
spoiling.
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
End of Get Out, when you see the police lights, the reason that movie ended so well, when you see those police lights, you're like, oh no. You know what I mean?
Mm.
You're like, oh no, because your assumptions in your head
Is
have
that it's
told
white cops? It's white cops that are coming there.
to finish the job. Yes.
Right.
Do you understand? It's not even subverting your expectations because they didn't do that. You did that. You created
Yes. Yes. You created. You concluded.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Meanwhile, if you actually think about it from a non-political perspective, like if you think about it logically, he's sus, she's a straightforward. But in our heads, because of the perception that we've built, our first thought is, no, this is sexism at its finest.
Right.
This is the definition of sexism.
Right. Right.
And that is, it's so good, I almost can't believe it's on purpose. Do you know what I mean?
I guess it goes back to what the writer said about this movie.
Yes.
Because he's so detailed, he's so meticulous in his writing
Mm.
that he knows that the audience will be able to pick up these things.
Exactly. And they won't be, yeah, they will catch onto it and lock. It's a perfect red herring. Anyway, let's move on.
Sure.
That great stuff in general. And the lighting is great, by the way. Because remember, it actually did rain for days.
Was it raining for real or was it just part of the script?
Both. It was raining for real for days, but they used it. So obviously, when it started, they just added their own rain afterwards. But yeah, it was actually raining for a lot of this.
Oh.
Yeah, for days in a row. Cool. Yeah. Great stuff in general. Yeah. The scene is topped off by Styles making some confession that we don't even get to hear.
Yes.
Putting behind the main character.
Right.
Pathetic with Osborne. Who knows just as much as us. We get a surprise. Osborne knows Hardy and his suspension. This is exactly what Hardy was scared of in the earlier discussion. Details of the two Rangers. Kendall, the injured. Kendall, of course, being played by Giovanni Ribisi. And a general's son who's out, who's not, well, let's just say out of the story for now. And then Dunbar, of course, I'm sure you've mentioned it, but just to confirm, Dunbar is being played by, there we go, Brian Van Holt. There we go.
Yes.
Cool. They are getting ready to question him, and we get one of my favorite smart guy moments. Hardy says, I love these kind of moments when they catch you out for being in your head. Hardy asks, is he cute? And Osborne is done. She's done.
She's like, okay, but before you even get there, I just want to mention something quickly. Yeah. When he hears that, what's his name again that you mentioned? Levi Kendall.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he loses it because he's like, why didn't Styles tell me this initially? Because he doesn't want to get involved with that. You know what I mean?
The big boss says, you're right. Yes.
And yeah, so he'd rather talk to the other, to is it Dunbar? He'd rather talk to Dunbar than to talk to
Kendall,
to Levi, because it's like, oh my goodness. Yeah. But anyway, please continue.
Yes. But anyway, yeah, she's done with the whole situation, but Hardy shuts her down by explaining the meaning and weight of the question.
Right.
To get over herself. Right. I love back and forth between these two. Like they are two opposites, and it's just the way they're rubbing against each other. And Osborne's by the bookness ends up both a saving grace, but right now it's a weapon that's being used against her. You know?
So, because it's like, is he cute? And she's like, you're being way out of line right now. This is irrelevant. Why? This question has no bearing to the situation right now. You can't be asking me if someone that I just interrogated is cute. What are you talking about?
First of all, he hits on her at some point. He's like, I'm a little drunk, so my repertoire might be behind. So if I hit on you, just, So on 4 different levels of sexism. And then he tops it off with
unprofessional, dog.
So unprofessional. She is done, and she's right to be done.
Yeah.
But And he turns it around so sweetly by saying, "What are you talking about? XYZ. I'm doing this for a reason."
Right.
And because she's by the book, she doesn't even become resentful. She's just like, "All right, fair enough, you got me there." And she carries on.
Right.
Osborne isn't useless or a bystander by getting her own back and uses his history against him. They have a good banter based on characters set up by the story.
Right.
Cool. The interrogation begins. And the reason we're here, because this is, who said it? I forgot who said it, but they said it right. Every movie at some point will always have two guys in a room talking. That's basically the core of every movie.
Right.
And the movie here is for the Rashomon style interrogations. This is the core of the movie. So we get into the action.
Okay, yeah, because the plan was the good cop, bad cop.
Yes, yes.
So basically, Hardy tells I keep forgetting her character name.
Osborne. Like
Osborne. Yeah, he tells Osborne that, look, let's go in there, do the good cop, bad cop thing, and I promise you, I'm gonna get him to speak in less than 8 minutes, no?
3 minutes.
3 minutes. And she's like, no ways. I mean, I've been getting this guy. I've been trying to get this guy to speak for a while, and he's not breaking. He's not cracking nothing. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's nice because we get to see how good of an actor John Travolta is.
Right. But also, before you continue, I just want to say, going back to the cute thing, just so that people understand how that got resolved, is in his explanation, it makes sense why he asked that question to begin with, because he says things like, all these questions that I'm asking you are very important. I need to know who I'm dealing with. You know what I mean? Does he stand up straight or does he slouch? You know what I mean? Like all these things make me understand the man that I'm about to interrogate before I interrogate them. So it's sort of like character profiling in a sense.
It's a profiling tool, yes, absolutely.
Yeah. Right.
Cool. Cool. I'm gonna carry on. Yeah, John Travolta, great actor. Yeah, he just talks and you keep an eye on. This is again, I'm talking about the De Palma style blocking, because three things are kind of have three people acting at the same time. It's a discussion we've had multiple times, right? People acting. We see Osborne, we see Dunbar, we see John Travolta. John Travolta is, of course, stealing the show right now with his performance.
Man, he has the charm. He's the guy. He's the leading guy. You see Travolta on screen. You're happy that you see him on screen, whether he's a villain or a good guy. It's Travolta. Come on.
He's doing all the movement. He's lying down at one point, sitting on the chair at one point.
Yes. Asking this guy, do you like baseball?
Yes. And they're trying to, cool. Yeah, Dunbar and Dunbar and Osborne are caught by the show. They're impressed. And he's making headway until they find out. And then, he gets him to talk. Yeah. And when he finally gets him to talk, they find out that everyone is dead. At that point, it is clear we are in Osborne's viewing of the story. Yeah. We knew about the DEA thing. She knew about the DEA thing. She knew about the good cop, bad cop thing. And we also got caught by his little game because caught out when she uses when they use like a reverse good cop, bad cop kind of thing, where she's like trying to be badass and she's like, yeah, she's doing the good cop, bad cop. Just throwing her under the bus.
Cause okay, what happened? Okay, he said this. He said, I'm gonna touch my nose.
Yes.
That is a sign to show that you need to come in now, right? So immediately when she sees that, and I like the fact that she was a bit jumpy because she knew that, oh, this is my cue, So for a split second, she's like jumpy. Okay, let me go in, and then she's like start banging the table, and then she goes up to his face, and as he's in the zone, he's in the. I don't even remember what she said, but because that's something that they will talk about later on. But as she goes in, he's like, look. This is the cop, bad cops thing, we're trying to do this because whatever. He's like she's trying to do.
Oh, like she's being silly.
Yes.
And, just when she was giving him a little bit of respect because she appreciates a job getting done.
Yeah.
You know what I
mean? Yes.
And then he just throws her under the bus. Just dog. Of course, she's right to be pissed, dude.
Dude, when I saw that, I was like, what is this guy doing? But at the same time, I'm like, you know what? He's trying to build trust. He's trying to build rapport by saying that, look, this is what we could have done to try and earn your trust.
Yeah.
But we're not going to do it like this. We'd rather be more authentic to you in our approach.
Reverse psychology.
It's
You know what I mean?
reverse psychology, basically, yes.
Because it's straightforward. So it's supposed to be reverse psychology is not straightforward. So it's reverse psychology. So
Yes, yes. It's reverse psychology. Yes, yes.
But cool. At 19 minutes, we finally get to see Samuel Jackson, who is Sergeant West, the man, the myth, the legend, the monster.
Right.
We learn the dark side of Sergeant West quickly by first threatening the whole class by saying, if I don't want you here, you'll have an accident.
Yeah. So basically what he says is, some of you will not make it here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to have to send some of you home. But if you're stubborn and you still want to stay behind, you get an accident, because the training that I'm going to give you to basically
be a ranger, be one of the best of the best.
Be on the same level as the ones that I deem worthy. You will be in an accident whether you like it or not.
Shows that for him, spirit doesn't count. You know what I mean?
Yeah, results count.
What is that movie? Rudy doesn't count here, buddy.
Right.
You trash, you out.
Right.
Yep. Threatening the whole class and then targets Pike. Dog, oh my God, that Pike situation was funny. Where like he's like, I'm from Mississippi, where people like these pasty faces would hang a nigga up by anything. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's talking to tayediggs' character.
Hey, Pike, yes.
Yes.
But first talking to the whole group, but then he's like, what do you think about that, Pike? And he's like, yeah, I shouldn't go to, what did he say? Like, I shouldn't go to Mississippi. And then he fucking chokes Pike. Like oh, you know what you're trying to say about my hometown? Dog, you can't win. Give me a gun. And he's like, why are you giving me a gun? Are you crazy?
This goes back to the line, going back to the episode that we talked about 2 weeks ago with Joker from Full Metal Jacket, where he says, any answer that I'm about to give you is
automatically wrong. Yes,
it's gonna be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Cool. Targeting price with the training is brutal, but West, Sergeant West is even worse.
Yeah.
By the way, special shout out. I wrote this. So I was like, special shout out for the Samuel Jackson walk, where he's got the cloak and he's just out there. Crazy. That was the most runway thing I've ever seen. I was like, that should look so good.
Yeah, he was in his prime, man.
Dog.
He knew his position. He knew that he calls the shots.
Yeah.
And that walk was, I mean, that's his normal walk. But under those conditions, under those circumstances, he's the most powerful man there.
Absolutely. And it just shows it's a long time from Coming to America, Wane, because that was his first ever movie.
Yes. Yeah. Who's this fool or whatever he said.
But he's like robbing the store at the end, and he gets beaten up by Eddie Murphy. Oh, that happened. Like Eddie Murphy.
Bro.
Dog.
Which came out first? Goodfellas or Coming to America?
I'm gonna guess Coming to America then, because it was his first movie. And he already making a role in Goodfellas, so yeah. It's very weird, but yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Special. Yeah, okay. So they just came from a hell walk where they had to basically go through hell, and while being asked insane questions to check their mental readiness.
Right.
For them to be only for 6 of them to be chucked into a helicopter, a very specific 6, to be chucked into a helicopter.
This takes us back to the opening scene of this movie.
Exactly.
Also, we are watching this from Dunbar's point of view.
Well, yeah, Dunbar's description, yes.
Because he's the one that's explaining what happened.
Exactly.
through the interrogation that Hardy and Osborne are
Yeah.
basically having with Dunbar.
We could say it's the picture that Osborne is drawing as everything is being explained.
Yes.
Yeah. Cool. John, look at me, John Travolta. Hardy leaves the question in the air. Well, what did you do to make Mueller want to kill you? You know, kind of leaves it hanging. Cool. 25 minutes in, we're on the move. Hardy and Osborne are talking before they meet Kendall and the son of the general. Kendall, the son of the general. Thought this was really funny. Anyway, we meet Harry Connick Jr. Harry Connick Jr. playing Peter Wilmer, also friends. Wilmer's a doctor, but not only that, he also runs the hospital.
Right.
It turns out that Osborne knows Wilmer too. Cool. 27 minutes in, we meet Kendall. We learn that Ken has heard about the DEA thing in the news. So yeah, this is spread out. Like everyone knows now.
Right.
There's friction as Hardy, despite being begged to be nice, is indifferent to Ken. Like I love that whole thing. It's the general's son. Be nice. Nah, Hardy's like, no, thank you. I'm gonna be just said.
Right.
We also get our main theme, and this all being about degrees of truth.
Yes.
By Kendall, who appears to be having a great time.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're playing the gay angle with this man being very theatric, but this man is just enjoying the show. Yeah, Hardy puts it out immediately.
I'm not sure about the gay angle. That could have been that. But what I got from it is
that he's a narcissist.
Is two things. You guys, yeah, you could say he's a narcissist because like you guys want me to help you guys, and I know you guys are running out of time.
Mm-hmm.
And two, you know who my father is.
Yeah.
So he's spoiled in that sense that he can say or do anything to anybody, but he knows that he's gonna get away with it because those people know who his dad is and they're afraid of his dad.
You know, it turns out they hate him. The dad hates him, but yes, I agree with you there. That is a good point. Yes, absolutely. Cool. Yeah. Ken calls them back because they leave. Yeah, he calls out his bullshit and then they all bounce. Ken calls them back and yeah, all to Hardy's expectation. Because again, Ken loves the show and doesn't want the audience to leave.
Right.
He talks about his father, the general, and about the general having a gay son, which is him, and that he believes the plot everything was a plot to kill him as the gay son. And you kind of get again that perspective of like Samuel Jackson doing like the, I'm gonna get you, buddy.
Yeah. And that's why they're asking him. Nobody saw Samuel L. Jackson actually.
Well, yeah, I've shared. Dude, we're on a helicopter. Well, who could have seen that? Yeah. And we're living Ken's experience. And we kind of see him scared for his life. And I just, dog, it actually plays like a little bit of a horror movie for a second there. A goes off, and it turns out West is dead. Everyone is looking down on him, supposedly for being gay. They're in the bunker. They are all scared and doubting each other. Jeez, by the way, Nunez is just playing like a crazy person. Turns out, Nunez was actually, in order to walk like some of the guys, they made her wear a 45 kg pack all the time. So yeah, and it's so funny. They said you need to act like a showgirl.
Yeah.
Carrying an extra 45 kgs on your body.
Yeah, because you know what? To be honest with you, I have to be honest. Initially, I didn't realize that it was a woman, and I think that was deliberate. Because if you remember, at this point, because now we are getting this story. Initially, we got this story from what's his name, bro, Dunbar. Now we're getting this story from Kendall, right? So these are the two people that you want to focus on at this point in time. Yes, they do show other characters in the process, and at this time you're still trying to figure out, is that tayediggs? You know what I'm saying? Oh, this is Samuel L. Jackson. So when they show you other people, because at this time Samuel L. Jackson is saying that he's pairing them, is like, putting them in pairs. And he's explaining that because he's gay, he's not sure who Samuel L's character is gonna pair him with. So when they said Munez, I'm like, okay, maybe it's just like a young looking guy. You know, like there's some actors like a Michael J. Fox type of character who
Yeah.
looks young, but it's actually a dude.
Yeah, no, I hear you. Yeah.
It only clicked a bit later, so I think
Styles. But yeah, I know what you mean.
I think the fact that they actually gave her that weighted clothing that you're talking about
Yeah.
was perfect because it
Yeah.
it didn't make me think that this is a woman from the jump. It clicked eventually, but initially when I saw it for like a split second, it didn't.
Yeah. And also you don't want soldier, 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 Stephanie, soldier, soldier, soldier.
Exactly. Because, and I don't know if it's a thing, if it's a trope in Hollywood, but
Mhm.
when you look at Avatar, the first
Yeah.
one, Michelle Rodriguez played a soldier in there.
Yes.
When you look at SWAT with Samuel L. Jackson,
Yeah.
Michelle
Michelle
Rodriguez
Rodriguez.
played,
Okay. Here's the thing. Michelle Rodriguez is my queen of badass.
yeah,
And she's not in more things.
if Wonder Woman came out in the early 2000s, she would
Mhm.
have been Wonder Woman because
No,
she's a badass, bro.
she's short. I think she's like 5'6". I think she's shorter than me even. But I think that's the only negative effect. But again, Resident Evil, she
Badass,
plays badass. Um,
serious movies.
Curious, yes. Hell, in the Oscar-winning Clint Eastwood drama about the life of a boxer, she plays as the crazy boxer that
No,
basically breaks Hilary Swank's neck.
that's a movie we need to do. Million Dollar Baby is a movie
It
that we need because that's an Academy Award movie. I remember the first time I only watched it once, and I'll never forget it because
blew your mind, right?
it blew my mind, bro.
Uh,
It blew my mind.
Anderson is in, not Anthony Anderson. Anthony Mackie's in there for no reason. You're just like, is that Anthony Mackie?
Yeah, I do know Morgan Freeman is there, but I didn't know that Anthony Mackie is in it.
The person that Morgan Freeman punches.
Mm.
Again, that's Anthony
I
Mackie.
saw it back in high school, like this is the early 2000s when it came out, you know. But it's
Dude,
a
that,
brilliant. Like Hilary Swank is one of the most underrated, brilliant performers of our time.
which is why I'm so sad that she might not be in Cobra Kai. I need her in Cobra Kai, dog.
No, I think they okay, yeah. Oh, by the way, guys, we're just gonna take a mini break. Mini break. There's news that Jackie Chan and Ralph Macchio are gonna be doing a Karate Kid film. That's gonna be released next year in December.
That's crazy.
Right? And we know that Ralph Macchio and William Zabka, and Martin Cove, you know, and some of
Yeah.
those guys were actually pushing Cobra Kai for like what, 4 or 5 seasons?
Yeah. I,
Um, with Cholo Mariduena and all those guys. It's really good.
yes.
So Ralph Macchio used to talk about how characters from the Miyagi verse, he calls it the Miyagi verse, like people that interacted with people that interacted with Mr. Miyagi have to be in Cobra
Yes.
Kai because I mean we got Elizabeth Shue back, we got
Yes.
specific certain characters back, right? So Hilary Swank's character has to be in it.
Yes.
But the fact that Jackie Chan, who was not initially in the Miyagi verse, is gonna be in the film, we're not sure whether it's sort of like someone joked and said it seems like it's a Spider-Man. What's this? Not
No.
Far From Home.
No way home.
No Way Home situation. We're two different worlds.
Louder than the hardest Spider fan. If Hilary Swank shows up, dude. And she does the car kick. You know the part where she jumps and she jumps on the hood of the car.
That's on the bonnet of the car. That was pretty cool, though. That was pretty cool.
And she just Miyagi just sees the potential, man. She
Yeah.
cut to the monk. Like she turns out she went back to that monk place. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, she was there the entire time. She was with
Yeah.
the monks the entire time.
Turns out she
Yeah.
was. Yeah, that would
No,
be
look, like I
crazy.
remember how much of a big deal it was to get Elizabeth Shue back on. Like we waited, bro. So it's
Mm.
like in each season, the people that we really wanted to see, they started coming in slowly but surely. So hopefully, we will see Jackie Chan coming in, but we'll also see Hilary Swank. I think that would be insane. But anyway, that was just something that we needed just to
Watch Cobra Kai, guys. Watch it,
yeah.
please.
Have you watched it?
Of course. I'm
Oh,
up to date, but now I haven't watched it. What's it? Season 6 now. It's coming out this year, or next year.
oh, are they working on another? Because I remember the creators were shooting two things at the same time, and I think that's why the last season was not their best because they were put under pressure by Netflix to release, like a season back to back type of situation.
Mm.
That's why it felt a bit too 80s and campy and childish.
Well, I wouldn't say. I think they just wasted their characters.
Right.
For example, how are you going to bring back the karate champ as a furniture store owner? He
Yeah.
didn't do anything. He doesn't really do anything.
But like most of that season, he's
Yeah.
gone.
Yeah.
He only appears like 2 episodes before the final, like just 2 episodes, the final and the one just before that.
Yes.
And there's a
What?
scene that I didn't like at the end because they were fighting these sub villains or whatever, and you can clearly see that it was a stunt guy that came
Yeah.
in running. You remember that scene? I was like, no, this guy is a real martial artist. Why didn't you get someone his size to do that stunt then?
Exactly. I mean, when you think about the power of season 2 versus, like they drop that where they break its back, dude. Like that's crazy. Like, you know what I mean?
Whose back did they break?
Um, God, Harvey, what's his name? The kid, man.
Oh, Solomon Duena's character, no?
Yes, yes.
Miguel, I think.
Miguel, yes, there we go, Miguel. The dog where they kicked him onto the stairs on the rail,
Yeah.
and then they make him come back, and you just get to see that this man, dog.
That was good writing, bro. That was
That
good
was
writing.
television.
And I think they also sort of do this thing of we know every season finale the kids come in and fight each other. Whether
Yes.
it's at a school, whether it's at the LaRusso house, whether the kids there's just this super duper crazy fight between the characters.
But then I think they put the best fight in the middle when they fought at the Russo's house. I feel like that was the better fight than the final fight. I
Well,
almost think, huh?
the kids fighting.
Russo's house, yes. Remember they at the Russo's house at night for some reason? And they need to finally settle who she's gonna date. If I don't care at this point if she dates the what's her name? Russo's kid. At this point, I would be happy if she dates the black chick at this point, because I'm tired of her bouncing from guy to guy. It's like, decide. It goes from love triangle to you are a cheating hoe. Like,
You're talking about Samantha LaRusso.
yes, Samantha LaRusso. At this point, it's either a love, because the triangle, she keeps bouncing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. But it's also the same thing with Taylor though, with her rival. She's also bouncing between Miguel and so it's just a whole like polyandry situation happening.
What is going on?
Yeah.
Dude, it's so no. Settle. Let's get this done. Let's get a relationship, and then the job is to try and keep it. Do you know what I mean?
Yes, just focus on your martial arts, okay? And
yes.
Stick to your stable relationships, please.
Shame. And then is Chris still in jail?
No, he got out, remember?
Yeah, he did get out. You're right.
Yeah.
And then Thingy snitching on Ponytail guy. Yo, I'm so bad at names. I felt like that was
what's his name again? That guy, the guy who
not Eagle or something like that.
Who was Eagle Claw? What's his name again?
Yes.
Ravenclaw or something like that. Who?
Yes.
Yeah, he basically, because he was bribed, basically,
yes.
to try and say that.
About Chris, yeah.
Yeah, Chris is the one that actually beat him up and whatever. But then when he confessed eventually.
Yeah. And that somehow led to the guy going to jail forever. And I'm like, no, wait, what's happening right now? That guy has mega lawyers. I'm sure he won't be gone forever.
That guy's rich. He's like the Lex Luthor of that universe. He's just gonna, yeah. No, Terry Silver. Terry Silver is rich. He's gonna.
Exactly, and I love how good his mind games are. Honest to God, when it comes to bad guys and mind games, people fumble the bag. Don't even get me started on Luke Cage. People fumble the bag all the time when it comes to clever bad guys. And to me, he was getting to LaRusso like effectively, like it was working.
Like that guy was the Joker level, Riddler level,
Yeah.
when it comes to being manipulative and using dark psychology and psychological warfare.
What's it?
He was on another level. You see why he is rich. You see why he has
Yes.
the
Yes.
big house, the beautiful woman.
Exactly. There's nothing I hate more than rich people that are rich for no reason. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yeah, like
yeah.
where it's like, oh, I'm a billionaire. I made $1 billion, but for some reason I'm mentally handicapped. How did this
How does that work? You know, it doesn't make sense.
good
But
guy can just beat me?
and I also like that because we know that the Karate Kid 3 is the weakest in the trilogy
Yes.
original trilogy. But
Yes.
how they retcon it through dialogue.
To
Whereas,
make him
dude, it was the 80s. Like I was high on drugs all the time. And then when you see those scenes where they were acting all child overacting, like where the actors were overacting those scenes, you're like, no wonder man he was behaving like this. This guy was high as a kite, bro.
all I'm saying is I wish that I who wrote all these things
Mm.
had the 30 years later for Star Wars, The Force Awakens. I know
Right, right, right.
then we could understand why Luke was the way he was. It would make more sense.
Yes,
Why
yes,
Han
yes.
Solo is the way he's asked. This TV show managed to explain time skips in a way that I've never seen before.
Right. And
Like,
also, we need to, okay, guys, we know this is a serious tangent. I think I'm gonna, when I do my time zoning, I have to mention that this is a Karate Kid franchise rant tangent thing. But I just want to say that what these guys did, because these are the guys that wrote Harold and Kumar Go to White Castle, right?
for real.
Yeah. So what they did is they made sure to also even get deleted scene footage and use that to make a story within Cobra Kai. Because there's a scene, for instance,
Yeah,
what happened? I think either Daniel or Johnny, um, I think they spilled food from each other. One of them spilled food. They were in the cafeteria and then they spilled the food or something.
yes.
It's not in the original film.
Yes.
It's a scene in
Mm-hmm.
the original film. So they got these tapes that have been kept in a vault somewhere, that have been archived for decades and used that into the story, bro.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And even Martin Cove, he
Yeah.
said that when they approached him, right? When they approached him for the role of Kreese, because Martin Cove already understood the character way more than we did as audiences back then, right?
Yes.
He says when they came to him and told him who Chris was, it was bar for bar exactly what he had in his mind. The whole story about Chris and Silver
Yeah.
and soldiers getting training and all of that. And he was like, these kids are crazy. Like the fact that they came up with this whole backstory for this character, and that's the way he is. That's why he says strike first, sweep the leg. You know, it's because that guy has gone through whatever he went through in the past, and
Yes. Yeah.
it makes perfect sense, bro.
Full metal jacket type shit, ironically. Um,
Yeah, yeah,
Going through my mind right now. So the Harold and Kumar writers are the ones that made Cobra Kai.
yes,
And do you know who they worked with? Barney. Neil
yes.
Patrick.
Neil Patrick Harris. Dude, it all comes back together full circle. I'm telling you.
Harris is playing Barney. I swear he's the first person to ever do the description of the Karate Kid from the perspective of the of
he's
have you
the
seen that episode?
he's the first um pop culture character to actually say that on screen because we were saying it. And
Yeah, that
yeah, he was like, Will Zabka is the real Karate Kid, not that LaRusso kid. Ralph Macchio is not the Karate Kid. Bill Zabka is the real Karate Kid. That was an illegal kick.
I don't
and, then, and then you see William Zabka removing his makeup as a clown. It's like, dude, I'm glad that you actually realized this all along.
think
It's tight. William Zabka. Oh my god. The Karate Kid. Dude, they took that joke seriously and created a 5-season
greatest
story,
TV shows of all time.
which is so good, bro.
Dude, it should be put next to Stranger Things. It's so good. And it's so there's actually YouTube, but YouTube fumbled the bag.
Yes. Can we speak about that quickly? The first 2 to 3 episodes of Cobra Kai was on YouTube. I think it was YouTube Red at the time.
Yes.
Then,
Yeah. The YouTube was for free, the first 3 episodes.
Yes.
Then were on Red. Were locked behind Red.
And Netflix took it, funded for season 2.
Yeah.
It was even bigger than it was on YouTube. These guys were on promotional tours. Marketing was crazy. It was big to a point where the characters that you've always wanted to see. I mean, honestly speaking, in my opinion, guys, I'm sorry. We know this is a basic episode. Dude, we have to do a Cobra Kai. We have to do a Cobra Kai, all right?
Yeah, we need to go into more detail. Yeah.
But the fact that they got the Japanese ex-girlfriend.
Dog. And it's like that actress. Dog. And it's like, oh my God.
Yamiko something. That character for me, that is Daniel's perfect
woman, yeah.
Should have been his wife. Even Ralph Macchio said that.
Yeah. He should have Japan. Yeah.
They should have been together, bro.
Yep. And she's so beautiful and so zen and so happy.
She is perfect.
Dog.
She is perfect, bro.
Like, she would have calmly dealt with the situation, I think. Because I think Daniel's current wife is always like, you know, like she's like coming at
she's a realist, bro. She's
like, this shit is crazy. What is happening right now?
Yeah, I feel like she's the most mature character in that entire show.
Well,
like, oh, are you guys gonna be like kicking each other in my backyard and just sit down, let's have breakfast and talk about this like adults?
She's the Jason Bateman of I mean, what is Arrested Development? She's Jason Bateman.
Yeah, because I mean, all the characters that she interacts with in this story, whether it's Russo's villains, even Kreese, bro, like she deals with all of them, with logic, all of them.
Even the guys in the car dealership, she's the most logical person there.
Exactly.
Which actually makes her the craziest person there. Because if you're the only person that's sane, then that means you're the crazy one.
Exactly. Exactly. You know, like when you're like the Squidward. Squidward is the most sane.
Yeah, the older you are, the more Squidward makes sense.
That's true. That is true, bro. There's even a meme about it. Like, you know what? The older I am, the more I understand this guy.
All kids, and SpongeBob wakes up to go to work retail. It's like, I'm ready.
Exactly. You see, so Squidward and Eeyore, bro. The older you get, the more you understand these guys.
100%.
Anyway.
Okay, let's go back, guys.
Let's go back to basic. Sorry, guys. So sorry.
This part, she'll make one of those squares that says skip to the so-and-so minute.
Yeah, no, I'm just gonna have to do time zone so that if people want to skip this part, yeah.
All right. Cool. Cool. Ken calls him back. Yeah, we did that already. Yeah, we are living Ken's experience. How he was scared for his life. Yeah, cool. We're in the bunker. Yeah, okay, cool. What happens is everyone's like, okay, where's your phosphorus grenade? And then the only person who doesn't have one is Pike. He confesses and he says, yeah, I killed him. And then Pike they capture Pike and they wait for rescue.
Right.
But Pike isn't gonna wait, so he tries to talk no jutsu. He tries to talk no jutsu Kendo, and it doesn't work on Ken, who is the hero of this imaginary story, of course.
Right.
But then when Ken is asleep, he talk no jujutsu's Dunbar, and Castro is hit, and yeah, he just unloads on everybody. Dunbar saves Ken, thinking that Ken would back him up, and then kills Mullah, which is the scene we've all seen as they escape. We're back, and Hardy is like, all right, job's done, success. But is shocked at his reply. She doesn't believe that. We're at the 40-minute marks, by the way. 40 minutes.
if you guys maybe are missing what Rob is saying is,
Mhm.
Kendall and what's that guy's name again? The Chilean guy,
Castro.
Castro.
Mhm.
They saw Samuel L. Jackson's body,
Yes.
and so they
Blow.
got this. They wondered what happened, who did this,
Mhm.
um, and
Then
then
they yes.
and
Yeah.
then this is where, according to Kendall, that's where he got shot. He got shot uh,
Yeah.
at that scene, at that moment.
Mhm.
So that's where they start talking and whatever, and then that's when you can correct me if I'm wrong because I know it's different types of stories. That's where Nunez comes in, right? Nunez comes in.
Ken hasn't been shot yet. Ken gets
Oh,
shot when Thingamajiggy unloads on everyone. That's when Ken gets shot.
oh yes, 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 and then also Nunez gets shot in the
Yes.
process, right? Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Kind of like, yeah. They see the explosion. They go to the explosion, and they find Wes is dead.
right.
So they Nunez appears, and she's like, "What did you guys do?" Etc. And then yeah, they go to the bunker, and you'll notice some things always stay the same, by the way, in the different telling of the stories. And then what's his face? Not Dunbar. Mueller is already there.
Right.
Um, then Pike eventually shows up last. They ask Pike, where's your stuff? And he's like, I used my phosphorus grenade to kill Thingamajig. Just straight up confesses.
Yeah.
Yeah, and all that stuff happens, and then we're back. Yeah, Hardy's like, job's done. As it turns out, the story, that's not good enough for Styles.
Yeah, because it's like a confession is not good enough. We need more evidence.
Yes.
Yeah.
And at the 43-minute marks, we're back with Dunbar. We're with Osborne, and we're only halfway of the storyline. How is the smart, and in your head, you're probably asking yourself, how is the smartest guy in the room buying this? You know what I mean?
Mm,
The best. How is Hardy buying this nonsense?
right.
Now it's Dunbar versus Kendall, and Dunbar drops the bar. Did he tell you about the drugs? Boom, 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 boom. Story changes. Do you know what I mean?
Yes.
It's great mystery storytelling, guys. This
So
is
basically, from coming back to Kendall, they're now going to Dunbar
Mhm.
with information that Dunbar didn't tell
Yeah,
them. So now they're going to him, approaching him and saying, "But you didn't tell us this, though."
yeah.
Because
Because even
you said you said that Kendall was shot outside, I think.
yes.
But Kendall says that he was shot in the bunker,
Mhm.
right? So this doesn't make sense. The story is not adding up. It's like, no, that he's lying.
Yeah.
Did
Well,
you?
yeah. Basically, yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, yeah,
Dunbar hasn't actually explained beyond them getting on the helicopter.
right.
Not so. It's all really Ken versus Dunbar. But yeah,
Whose story is actually true? Now that's not what they're trying to figure out.
exactly.
Yeah.
So let's take the time to consider the pacing. It has not been fast scenes like before. Like you know how we always talk about constant movement and fast scenes, like with District 9. None
Right.
of it's but very limited locations, but the story is sprinting. Things are moving fast,
Yes.
despite that things are actually kind of standing still. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
I mean, we are still mindful of the pressure that Styles is under because
Mhm.
he had a specific amount of time to get answers, to get evidence and everything.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the movie's almost halfway.
Please,
Drug.
I'm just switching my charger, but please continue.
Cool. Yeah, drugs obviously makes Hardy Mr. DEA perk up. Turns out everybody knows about this man's story.
Right.
Sells drugs. Hardy calls BS and is attacked. There's a
Right.
very interesting scene actually, because if you watch the build up, you'll see the camera moving constantly, like it zooms in on the guy.
Right.
It's more of a dolly, but yeah, it slides in at high speed each as the scene builds up to the attack.
Right.
The cat,
This is which characters here are having a squabble?
it is Dunbar versus Hardy with
This is where, yeah, this is where actually Dunbar jumps on Hardy, right?
Exactly. Because
And
he's
it's basically.
Yeah, because he's like, first of all, Ken told us a story. You told us nothing, so we believe in Ken.
Right.
And Dunbar's like, what the hell is wrong with you guys? And yeah, he attacks. Cool. And then the camera does, and it builds up so much energy. Because like,
Right. Right.
different characters as it gets closer, and they're all stepping closer to each other.
Right.
And then bang, they attack. Cool. Now Hardy's like, I'm done. He bounces. But now Osborne, because she's good character work, because remember, she's by the book most of the time. And that's starting to break because Osborne has realized that Hardy is the most effective result getter. So she needs him. This is the midpoint by then. This is
I was just actually realizing why Styles needed this guy.
Exactly. Yeah, Hardy wants to go home. Osborne, the idealist, has come to terms that the man is doing his job well and needs his help. And being the idealist, she calls out his sense of duty. But he's not having it. And he says he understands why West is dead. He was a monster, and it was only a question of time. An interesting question of the military system brought up matches the Full Metal Jacket with the recruits breaking. But most interesting is his reaction, which is to talk about the kids, most interesting is Osborne's reaction, which is to not focus on that, but to talk about the kids doing their best for duty. Not acknowledging Hardy's point before saying Hardy just couldn't hack it. Which, again, reminds me of Full Metal Jacket, that whole first 45 minutes.
Right.
That it's all an excuse and that the system is...
We would say that Hardy is Lawrence in this situation. In that situation, that's why he left.
Kind of, yeah. It's a kind of Lawrence, exactly. And ironically, what is Lawrence? Section 8. Because Lawrence went crazy, so you'd call him Section 8.
Right.
Just for that.
Right.
Might be important later on. The idealist does not let go and keeps pulling at him. But finally, she mentions that, she admits that West might have been a bad dude, but to deal with it according to the law. Cool. Then we get our clue. So they kind of both like conceded to each other a little bit here. So it's kind of a nice moment. You know what I mean?
Right.
Then we get a clue that pushes the story. Dunbar had said shoot. Kendall had said he'd blown up. But that means Dunbar had never seen the body. And we're back in flashback with new info. Now West has been killed by a bullet. Pike is the only one missing a grenade. And again, Pike is tied up, offering Dunbar a nice, strong dosage of Talk no Jutsu. The Talk no Jutsu makes Muller the target. Pike confesses to the drugs, selling out Ken and Muller as the...
Is this where we see Muller without a shirt?
Yes. Pike is basically saying, hey, if you shoot someone at close range like that, you're going to get blood on you. How come Muller doesn't have a shirt?
Yeah.
You know, just proper no Jutsu.
Right. Because it's basically just shifting the blame from him.
Yeah.
And giving Dunbar the idea that this is all Muller planting this on me, you know.
And everyone knows Pike hates West, and Pike is the only black guy there. So there's a Muller racism angle being played right now.
Muller is called a redneck or something, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes. He calls him a redneck when they confront each other. Yes.
Right.
There's an angle of discrimination here that I wonder about. Osborne being a woman, not trusted. West talking about Alabama. West targeting Pike. Pike blaming Muller because he believes Muller is a racist. If there's something there, I don't actually know. Like, I'm actually genuinely, at least at this part, until maybe the end, it's all very confusing. Like, it's all muddled in a way.
The thing about Muller is nobody trusts Muller.
Yeah. Yeah, Muller is basically the bad guy continuously. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. 56 minutes in, all is chaos in some way. Ken is shot. This is in the bunker again. Ken is shot. Castro sprays the room again, killing Nunes. Muller is chasing Dunbar and Ken before he dies. The cycle continues.
Right.
But the drug angle is new. And now, 59 minutes in, we're heading back to the hospital. By the way, the driving sessions, when I keep saying we're heading to the hospital, heading to the thing, they're downtime. So
Right.
remember, any good story has highs and lows.
Yes.
Some people complain about Man of Steel, saying that the last 40 minutes is nothing but highs. Same thing maybe with Avengers as well, kind of the first one.
Yeah.
Where
The first act, it's just nothing but highs. Yeah.
so it becomes noise. But
Mm.
this past session, when they're talking, they're kind of reviewing, they're kind of going over stuff, talking about emotions, Thingamajig is hitting on him. The pacing kind of calms down. You know what I mean?
There's
So
also something that I just want to mention is throughout these moments that we're talking about, these calm moments, even though they're not necessarily calm, I mean, it's
yes,
them back and forth trying to figure out what's happening, connecting the dots, going from point A to point B, either going back to the base or going to the hospital. Hardy keeps on trying to have a smoke, or he keeps, and as an audience, we're given the impression that we need to focus a lot on the smoking thing, as if this will lead to something. Because we keep on, there's a moment where he's just as he's smoking, then he needs to go back inside the hospital, or maybe sometimes he would lie and say, no, I smoked. Do you have some cigarettes? I forgot mine in the car. You're like, is this supposed to say something? Is this supposed to mean something?
yep. Because every scene's supposed to matter. Yeah, you're not supposed to just waste shots for no reason. Yes, I agree with that.
Exactly.
Yeah, so yeah, driving at that time. Yeah, cool. This time they're going for Vilma. They're not even going for Ken. Osborne has changed, by the way. She's smoking now. So where before she was scowling at this man using tobacco, now she's smoking.
But it also goes to show you what you said earlier on about her basically now being a bit more comfortable around Hardy, or rather being influenced by Hardy. Like
Exactly.
now she's not just the straight and narrow that she was exactly.
Yeah.
She's loosening up a bit because she now trusts Hardy, like you said, because she senses that he has a sense of duty.
Yes.
So now she's more open because she realizes, okay, I need this guy. So let's try to figure this thing out together. You know what? Just give me a cigarette. Let's
Yeah.
do this and let's go. Yeah.
They both have a sense of duty, yes. And she appeals to it. And then you'll notice as well that even the buttons on her shirt are loose on her shirt. This is the person who's been on the ball the whole time. Even the buttons on her shirt are loose now.
Right.
While on duty even. And then, blowing my mind, she blasts Vilma with a phone book in the middle of the interrogation.
Right.
Just whop up. And yeah, that'll do it. Vilma confesses. This is a trick fast-paced movies will sometimes do to make some things get done, to get people to talk, basically.
Oh, Vilma is the doctor, right?
Yeah, the Dr. Harry Connick, Harry Connick Jr.
Wait, if that's Vilma, then who's the guy with the shirt that was off? What's his character name?
Mueller, Vilma,
Right.
MV, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Anyway, it would take too much. It would take away too much momentum for them to spend too much time trying to get him to talk. It would slow things down because it's not the point. It would be more stick, but it would take too much time from the flow of the story.
Because, like we said, these people are under pressure. There's no time for us to be like wasting too much. We're already wasting too much time getting these two guys to confess. Right now, the plot is thickening, and we're really trying to get a confession out of this guy. Does he know? Has he always known that there's been a drug thing going on? He's taking forever. Let's break his nose. That pain will get him to talk.
But also in the message as well.
As a person, you don't care about certain things anymore.
Exactly. But that's in the story and in the meta. So it's inside and outside the story. There's got to be momentum. So that's why, yeah, cool. So the truth is slapped out of him. And it's still a character moment for Osborne. 2 birds, one stone.
Right.
It's
something that we didn't mention, and I just want to give people background as to why you're saying there's 2 birds with 1 stone. There used to be a thing. They used to have a thing going on, which is something that Hardy detected quickly.
Yes.
So 2 birds with 1 stone, in a sense that she is still bitter. She's still angry, and the fact that she realizes that he was doing these things behind closed doors pisses her off. So
He even says, I was doing it while dating you at one point. Like, damn.
Yeah, I was doing this whole thing behind, just under your nose.
You can imagine what that does to a sense of duty. Yeah.
Yes. Especially someone who's as trained as and qualified as she is, that she couldn't pick it up all along.
Exactly.
Right.
So we get the play-by-play, the Mueller and Ken reveal. At 1 hour and 1 minute, Osborne and Hardy, are not happy. There has to be more. Oz, 1 second. Oz is offered a clean way out. Things can end here. Oz is like, you can just stop here. Because I have a feeling, Oz is like, dude, you're clearly losing. You're clearly, joining the deep end with the rest of us. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But also, just to expound on what you're saying, by you talking about the connection between Mueller and Vilma is Vilma, being a doctor, approached Mueller
Yes.
the drugs, and Mueller is the one that basically introduced these drugs to Pike.
Yes.
The rest of the team, because Pike was going through rigorous training the whole time. Samuel L. Jackson's character didn't like Pike all along, so he would really get the short end of the stick. Pike is basically the character that Samuel L. Jackson was referring to when he said, you're gonna have an accident. I'm gonna break you, right? So they sometimes wouldn't sleep, they wouldn't eat, they would be so torn apart. They would be so broken that they needed rest, but they just couldn't get it. So the drugs helped them. It numbed the pain.
Yes, it's a pyramid scheme, and Mueller and Ken can see the perfect target for that pyramid scheme,
right?
Which is relevant for later. Cool. 1 second, I got lost. Cool. Yeah, we're back here. Cool. Yeah. Oz is offered a clean way out. Things can end there, but that's got nothing to do with Oz's sense of duty. It's impossible. They tell Styles everything, with Hardy happy to leave it right there. But Oz pushes. Styles does not care, but Hardy actually defends Oz. So we finally get a little, what you call it?
Just to add on to what Rob is saying, because I don't want to lose anybody who's never seen this movie. So basically what happened with Vilma is that him confessing to the drugs means that he's going to jail for like 20 years. Like just straight from the confession, because he does get detained, I think. And then going back to what you're saying, they go to Styles, and then Hardy is like, okay, just only say this to Styles.
Yeah.
That would be enough, because we convicted the guy. But then, like you're saying, Osborne, having a sense of duty, wants to say more to the story, which Hardy says, you shouldn't have said that. And even Styles says, Lieutenant, I didn't need to hear this.
Yes, because they believe that there's more to this.
Oh, Captain, Captain, I didn't need to hear this, yeah.
Yes, exactly. They think there's more to this, but yeah, technically the job's done. But cool.
What did she say again? What was the thing that she added onto this thing?
That they should have been a partner. That there was more to this than just Styles, basically. Because their thing was 20 years is not enough to kill people, basically. So there must be more to this than just this 20-year sentence, basically, is the idea.
Yeah, why would it be so easy to confess like that?
Yeah, exactly. So ours goes full Hardy, and they're on Ken immediately. They just go cut straight to Ken. Ken is having a great time. Oz finds another clue about Ken and Dunbar. But Ken isn't looking good right now.
Right.
I don't feel too good, Mr. Stark. But Ken dies during drawing a clue on her hand. Styles is back and dismisses Oz. Like, you're fired kind of thing, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yo, give me your badge. classic 80s trope. Too far.
Yeah, the guys and I were talking about this yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah. She failed, and Dunbar is gone in 10 minutes. The ticking clock has basically crossed the line.
Right.
Ken wrote what she thought was infinity turned out to be the number 8 on
Oh, by the way,
Thingy's plan.
this is something that maybe we didn't really touch on, which is crucial to the story, is
Yeah.
they only had Dunbar for a specific amount of time because he had to go to the airport or something. I think he was getting shipped somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That was the ticking clock. Yes. They're running out of time because he has to get sent away, but they want answers before that happens. Yes.
Yeah.
The ticking clock. Cool. Of the Crazy 8, there's a dolly zoom and a lot of cuts. For those who don't know what a dolly zoom is, it's when you move your camera forwards, right? So like you get that effect.
Yeah.
You also zoom out at the same time. So what ends up happening is
I've seen that. So it's like you're zooming into the character, but the background is zooming in, right?
no. You either zoom out while you move in, or you zoom in while you move out.
Oh, is that how they do it?
Yes.
But I know that there's this sort of like this optical illusion thing where it seems like the character's moving, but they're still.
Exactly that like effect where it's like the background is doing things. Yeah.
Right.
It's not, it's a camera trick. Yeah. It's called a dolly zoom.
Because it's as if the background is actually the thing that's moving.
Yes.
Right.
Exactly.
Right. I know that. Oh, I didn't know. What is it called?
A dolly zoom.
Dolly zoom. All right.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Cool. Before I get ahead of myself, yes. Art is suspicious of Hardy because he feels like Hardy knows about the 8. We get a flashback to the missed conversation. By the way, this is a part that I feel like you could maybe take a point away from these guys.
Right.
It's 107 minutes in when we get this information. 107 minutes that late in the game. There's a new group of people that might have killed West, and the rogue group is called Section 8.
Right.
This is crazy late in the game. We've discussed this before in multiple videos. That, adding brand new elements that have never been discussed before.
Third act. Yeah.
Is a bit wild. Though, to be fair, I will say they do recover it a little bit. But again, I feel like it's something that you made a note of. That's the thing that makes viewers not happy. But anyway.
Yeah, because it's sort of, sometimes it feels like, I know it doesn't happen all the time, but sometimes it feels like when the writer has wrote himself or herself in a corner and introduces, it's kind of like in Naruto. In Naruto where Masashi Kishimoto actually confessed that he doesn't know how he's going to kill Madara.
Yeah.
And that now he introduced that lady who people consider to be the worst villain of all time because he wrote himself in a corner.
Or the turtle from Avatar. Oh, you've been dealing with this issue for the whole of book 4 or book 3. And then a turtle shows up and goes, I know the exact thing you need, buddy. Oh. How convenient. But yeah.
Unless if that turtle was always, like throughout the story, was constantly mentioned, that nobody has seen this turtle in decades or in centuries, then it appears like, oh, this is what they were talking about.
Exactly.
Right.
Or like went to the spirit world and it turns out there's another form of bending that no one knows about.
Right.
This season 1, like with the faceless guy, the face stealer? Turns out the way he can steal faces is by doing another type of bending called soul bending. And then it gets brought back at the end with the turtle saying, oh, by the way, soul bending works like this. It also provides this. Ta-da! Now it's no longer turtle sudden answer. Do you know what I mean? It's answer that was mentioned before that none of us thought about. But anyway, that's what should have happened. So as a writer to writer, always think about that, guys. Cool.
I still think, I could be wrong, but I remember Hitchcock talking about this, that look, if you're gonna show a jacket in the beginning of the scene, in a specific scene, even if it's the beginning of the movie, make sure that that jacket is part of the story.
Yes, absolutely. David Fincher is very careful with his close-ups. Like, there's a part where like they drop something in, what's it called again? Panic room. And then it turns out to be important. Like, where's this thing? It's under the bed, but no one knows that because we see sliding in. But stuff like that makes a difference.
Right.
Cool. Anyway, 109 minutes in, we're back to Vilma. Vilma gives a crazy clue. Now, this is perfect, by the way. I thought this was perfect. Perfection, because it uses all the red herrings about race, the red herrings about all the other things.
Right.
That Dunbar is black.
I think this is possibly the most hit or miss moment
Mhm.
of this entire movie.
Mhm.
Because are you telling me that these people didn't do a background check on all the people that were there?
Yeah. But then again, Styles did say it's off the books.
Right, but yes, that is true. But I guess also, had this been a movie that was based in the 30s,
Mm.
it would have been so much better at that moment.
An older movie, yeah. Well, I mean, it's only 2003, so I guess you could say technology is not that high. Cell phones aren't really that much of a thing.
Right. But there were computers. But
Yeah,
I do get what you mean. I do get what you mean. Because they were running out of time. Maybe they didn't do their due diligence.
yeah,
So
one day. It's all in 6 hours, as far as I'm concerned. The
yeah.
whole story is in a few hours. But I agree with you. Them just checking the dog tags and not having profiles of every individual character is insane. But
Right.
yeah, that is not a perfect thing. I agree with that. That is 100% correct. But it's a fun twist. If you're caught up in the moment,
100%. Because that changes everything. Even when they start showing you that Wes was actually not choking
yeah,
Dix
thing.
the entire time. He was choking the redneck. No, Dunbar.
Yeah, that's Dunbar. And it's so funny because when you think about the dialogue, where it's like, what are you trying to say about my hometown? It makes a little bit more sense now.
It's just like, why would the black man complain about Mississippi? But
Yeah,
now it's like, oh, no wonder the white guy was actually complaining about Mississippi.
I'm sure that's not on purpose, but that's a fun little moment there.
Right.
Pike is caught. They catch Pike as he's about to get on the plane, and there's a cool scene with the. I'm sure they didn't go full Tom Cruise, where because Tom Cruise is the kind of guy that would actually get a real helicopter.
I like
real airplane.
I like what you're doing there with. Now we're no longer calling him Dunbar. Like you're talking about him as Pike now. After the reveal. But yeah, please continue.
And Pike, yeah.
Or the helicopter, the airplane thing as in like real stunt moment.
Yeah, because Tom Cruise in Mission Impossible 2, when he catches the knife just before it hits his eye, that knife was actually that close to his eye.
It was a real knife.
Yes, and it was that close to his eye.
Wow. No, I didn't know that.
So that's Tom Cruise. I'm sure there was some camera trickery there. I'm sure the helicopter was not that close to him, but still, that was a beautiful moment where like they get this nigga to confess. Cool. Now we get the final flashback, the real flashback.
Right.
And like with Hateful Eight, the twist is that everyone, but not the real Pike, was in on it. Remember in Hateful Eight, you're like, who's the guy? It turns out everyone's the guy. You know what I mean?
Right.
Well, everyone but one guy who was the guy on the chair. So same principle. Cool. So they fight. Everyone fights, and it's them versus West. But we don't get the John Wick movie I was hoping for. We're back, and it turns out things are bigger than performance enhancers. Everything's actually about cocaine, which of course makes things a lot bigger than what Vilma was talking about.
Right.
Yeah, and it turns out everyone is dead. There's no John Wick movie. The coke is found, but what about Vilma's partner? So Styles and Hardy chill together and they're laughing together, which is when Hardy manages to trick him about the he tricked Styles and saying, "Yeah, I just found out about the poison. How did you know about it?"
Right. Sorry, just before we go into that, because I know that's basically the ending part. It's or rather the big reveal. It's so what basically Pike says is Samuel L. Jackson's character found out what these guys were doing about that whole drug bust thing. And it's like, you guys thought that I wouldn't know about your shindig? Then what he does is basically he threatens all of them. Obviously, they turn their back against him. But because he's more experienced than all of them, he goes out. Nunez goes out and says, "No, I'll do it," because basically they agree that they need to kill him.
Yes.
Only to find out that he's on the roof.
Yep.
Takes her out. Then they start shooting from above, I think. From below, obviously.
The roof, yes.
I just don't remember what happened after that, though.
Okay, basically what happens is he disappears, and now it's a hunt.
Oh, yes. Yes.
And start taking them out one by one, but we don't really get to see that part. What we end up seeing is
Pike.
Yes. Kendall gets shot, right? And now it's Pike's turn. Pike has got a gun at Samuel at West.
So Kendall gets shot on the leg.
Yes.
Like that's the real like that's what really happened. That's how he really got shot in the leg.
Shot, yes. And then
the real Dunbar gets shot and killed.
No. Yes. Well, no. What happens is Kendall gets shot. Pike points the gun at samuelljackson. At Wes, and then is like, "Hey, I don't want to shoot you because I know you're not in on it." Right. He said Pike's not in on it. But then while they're talking, it turns out that Mueller. Yeah. You're right. Bill Dunbar's dead already. Yes. Mueller appears in a corner somewhere, shoots Jiggy. Then Pike picks up Ken and runs away while Mueller chases them down. Yes, that's the real storyline. Yes.
Because now we're starting to understand why Mueller and Pike were actually shooting at each other.
Yes.
Despite what we initially thought. Because initially we were thinking that the reason that, not initially, but at a point where we thought that we cracked the case, we thought that they were shooting at each other because Pike, who we thought was Dunbar at the time, was convinced by Pike, who was actually the real Dunbar, that Mueller is trying to frame Dunbar, or rather Pike, for the murder.
It was kind of hilarious how some of that was confusing as all hell. But yeah, what is he saying now? I was like, I'm hearing names, but no, you're right. Yes.
Yeah.
That was good. Cool. Styles, and so yeah, we cut back to the real world. Coke's been found.
Right.
Truth is out, and now everything is done. And now Styles and Hardy are talking. They're laughing together. Hardy tricks him by saying that by getting to confess that he knows that Kendall was killed by poison. Then he tricks him again by saying that he phoned people to find out the coroner. He got a call from the coroner. It turns out it was not that, or he was checking his messages.
Right.
And then it turns out that the Styles, it's always been Styles the whole time.
Yes.
West told Styles what was going on. And Styles was like, I got to get rid of this guy. So he told Mueller and Thing to get rid of him. And then, yeah.
And like, look, I'm willing to offer you, was it what, 40% or something?
40% of everything, yes. And the reason that they called this man is because of the DEA incident. So it's back 4 different occasions.
It's like, look, we know that you're a man who likes bribes, so that's why I'm offering you this deal. The whole point was not necessarily. The whole point was for you to help me pin it on someone else. Pin the situation on someone else. Because yes, I was working with Vilma. I was working with Mueller. We were working together, but we just wanted you to just pin, basically blame this on a specific person who was in the field.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's a nice play on words where it's like, hey, in the beginning of the story, they're like, look, man, I was never going to make general. Then he brings it back again. It's like, yeah, I was never going to make general. So
yeah, because he was using the cane, right, to walk around.
Exactly.
Right.
So I thought that was a nice little moment there. We get a little Western style, good and the bad and the ugly eye close up.
Right.
Meanwhile, they're talking the whole time. So
and we do sort of get the impression that Hardy is actually considering this. Despite that he cracked the code and everything, he's actually considering the 40%. For a split second, we do.
Yeah. but then he says no, and the gun comes out, and then Oz turns out shoots Styles because she kind of put one and one together because she started to doubt whether or not Hardy was innocent or not in the like he might have been involved. Like we even get a flashback of Hardy showing up on the island. Cool. So yeah, Styles gets shot. The events come to a close. All is well, and Oz and Hardy even set up a date. But as Hardy says goodbye, she hears something that we don't, and suddenly we're on the back foot for the first time. We get a reveal on the play of words. Tell the story right.
And that was so deliberate because you just hear this
bus or
whether it's a bus or a tractor passing by at the right time, and it is so loud.
Yeah.
You wish you could actually hear what Hardy said to Oswald, but you couldn't.
Yep. But I think that's just deliberate ADR. It was very good.
Yeah.
But then tell the story. The music swells. And we see Pike 2.0 because she doubts him again. We get the flashback. I think this is when we get the flashback of him stabbing Wes. Because now, again, we're on her perspective fully.
Yeah, so basically, she starts connecting the dots in a sense that, no, Hardy was actually there as well. He's part of the crazy eight, the crazy eight that we were talking about. Yes.
She hated
covering his tracks. He's the one that's actually covering his tracks.
Exactly.
These guys that were on the field, they are just pawns in this grand scheme.
It's all a setup to kill Pike. Every flashback was a lie. Etc. Dude, it's very cool.
There's a moment where she actually goes back to think of when he said, I wanted to kill that guy.
Yes.
I hate him.
Yes. Yeah, it's beautiful. It just shows how many red herrings there were. This thing was an entire swimming pool of red herrings. You know what I mean? Like this was...
What do you mean by red herring?
Red herring is basically a film term that means it's a setup that's a lie. So in other words, a distraction.
Right.
They'll set up a plot point that actually goes nowhere, but you'll think it goes somewhere. So for example, there'll be a killer and then there'll be another guy. When there'll be the nice guy, and there'll be a guy with tattoos and a biker thing. Looks sus as all hell, right?
Right.
And then next thing you know, you're like, okay, we're gonna need to take out the guy with the biker hat. And then for some reason, the nice guy murders that guy, and it turns out the biker guy was a setup. That's a red herring.
Yes. I guess I read this before. I just had forgotten the term, unless if there's another term about what I'm gonna use. Same thing happens in Hangover, right? Where Justin Bartha is made to make, like, we are meant to think that Justin Bartha is the protagonist of this movie, only to find out that Justin Bartha is, for the majority of the movie, is not even there.
Yeah.
Because he is actually missing throughout the movie. It's actually the other guys, Bradley Cooper, Zach, and I think it's what's his name again? I think his name was Stu. How can I forget this guy? Sorry, him. He is also part of, I think it's Ed something. They are the main characters. The three guys that were with the guy we thought was the main character are the main characters. So yeah.
It's always false clues, yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, the scene comes together.
I think it's Ed Helm. Sorry, you're not gonna bother me. Yeah.
Yes. Cool. So yeah, that's where the story ends, kind of, because she follows the John Travolta into the carnival, and then she goes in there to try and discover what's going on, and she finds almost everyone alive. And
Pike is alive, Dunbar is alive.
Yep.
Nunez is alive.
Yes. And then she's like, oh, so you guys all work together to kill Wes. I understand. And then Wes appears.
Yeah.
And yeah, the truth comes out. It turns out it was all a CIA, what can you say, a spook, a CIA op to shake the Hornet's Nest operation.
So basically it was a covert.
Yeah. A Jack Reacher style operation, yeah.
Mm.
And it turns out that these guys are a unit that involved in hunting down drugs and all these military things. It's all connected. It's all connected. And then John Travolta is actually the guy who's in charge of the whole thing. It turns out that Samuel L. Jackson, as the story says, he found out about the drugs. He told Styles. Styles did suspiciously a lot of nothing, and then he realized, oh, I might be in trouble here.
Mm-hmm.
So he called his old recruit, John Travolta, for help. Turns out John Travolta was like, not only can I help you, but I can really help you with because John Travolta's DEA. So it's like, I can really help you with this. Then obviously now I don't know if if the whole situation of John Travolta was the truth or part of up. Because remember,
these phones are tapped.
Yeah, no, I'm talking about the whole DEA situation with him getting suspended.
Yeah.
Remember, he talks to Styles 9 days before basically the story starts. So for all we know, if I'm correct, I think they even say it wasn't even 9 days yet. So the thingamajiggy made it being a fake up, if you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Suspension might have been fake. Yeah.
I'm assuming even that phone call was necessary because I'm sure his phone was tapped.
Yes.
So that conversation had to happen so that whoever's listening from the other end thinks that it's true. This guy did get bribed by this phantom drug dealer that we haven't seen.
Exactly. Styles, of course, is paying attention, sees this man, and then days later he sees him on the news again about corruption. He's in a situation that fits perfectly to his needs. He calls this guy, and then they shake up the hornet's nest to see what falls out. And it turns out to be Muller, Ken, and Wilmer, and Styles. They all fall out. And it turns out that Thingamajiggy was so good at playing a part that they were like, you know what? You want to join the team because you have a good sense of duty.
But here's the thing. The whole time, Hardy was actually not really training, but what's the word that I'm looking for? Testing Osborne, whether even the moment, because even if when you look back, like at the moment where she realizes that infinity sign is actually an 8 and stuff, it's like, what is wrong? What is wrong? I mean, he already knew.
Yeah.
But he was trying to see if and I think that's why at the end he gave her that one last bit of information by saying that line that connects all the dots.
But don't forget, how many times was he like, yeah, no, I think Ken is telling the truth. Yeah, I think Dunbar is telling the truth here.
Right.
You know,
deliberate. So it was
exactly. How many times did Thingamajiggy say, you want to stop here? We've got the answers. We can stop here. We've got the answers. We can stop here. Yes, they said that repeatedly.
Yes.
And so I want to carry on.
To see if she will still break that sense of duty thing or not, right?
To see if she'll still be honorable.
Yes.
Or be with him. And she never really does. She always stays honorable, even though she does hit a guy with the phone book to get the truth out. But we'll ignore that.
Shoot the guy and shoot her superior. But yeah.
I think that one at least is within the law.
Yeah, that one is basically saving someone else's life in the process. That makes sense.
But the phone book one, you can't do that.
Yeah. I mean, she also says it like she might actually lose her job in the process of doing this.
Yeah. And she gets fired. You know what I mean? She gets borderline court. She gets fired, but she keeps on the mission.
Yeah.
So, more than enough proof that she's good enough for the team. And of course, Wes is, of course, a full-on badass, so he's already a part of the team. So now they're all secret agents, and then John McTiernan went to jail, so we'll never get a sequel.
What I don't understand about this movie is, is Wes part of the Crazy 8?
Now he is. Remember, he asked for help, right?
So he also just got recruited then.
Exactly. John Travolta's like, cool, we'll fake your death and you'll become a part of the team.
Right. So Travolta's character outranked now in the team.
Yes. He outranks this man.
He's superior.
Exactly. And they make jokes about that, which is funny. Yeah. So That is literally what's happening.
Because he was like, Pike, who was Dunbar, is like, I don't want to get involved in all of the in all of.
Yes, yes.
So basically, the real bad guys either died or are in jail.
Exactly. I think only Vilma makes it to the end, right?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he went to jail, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They either died or they went to jail because
Yeah.
Vilma went to jail.
Yeah. Exactly. And yeah, guys, that's basic. Let me just give you my thing. It's not a master. Okay, wait. Yeah, it's all connected and fun, insanely convoluted story that rewards you for listening and watching again. But that's quite a few questions. It is not a masterpiece, but a pleasure to enjoy in the moment, as everyone does their best to keep you connected.
Right.
It's an absolute love of mine with just an ocean of distractions and red herrings. 8 out of 10. What do you see?
Yeah, I'll give it the same rating. Like I said, that whole black thing, in as much as it is a good reveal, it is highly entertaining. It changes the whole thing, but I feel like
Does it make you?
it could have been something else than just the race thing. You know what I mean? Maybe you could have said that. Maybe you could have said that. Maybe they're cousins. So,
I
and
get.
you know what I'm saying? It could have been something than just this guy was black.
I get what you're saying, but how about clue one, Mississippi racism? Clue two, the racism speech. Like they put race in the story on purpose.
Right.
Clue one, clue two, and then to make you pay attention to it, only to flip it on its head. Now, could they have used a different technique? Well, they would have had to set it up 3 times like they did with the race situation.
Right. Because I'm thinking, so he was talking to Pike about how like people like him
Uh-huh.
could get what's this? What's the word that I'm looking for? They would hang them on a tree or something with a rope.
Yeah.
It made sense if he was talking to a black guy about that
Mm-hmm.
initially, but when you look back and think about it, you're like, huh, okay.
And they deliberately made Pike the villain, that whole team, so that way Mueller would deliberately approach Pike by making him the worst person there who would need the boost more than anyone else. It's a nice little bait switch. Inject half.
Ah, right. Go to the weakest link.
Yes. And then get them to approach him, which they did, which sets up the whole sting. So now they're all undercover. And who's a part of this thing? Samuel Jackson. And who does he select? Involved. The target, and the people on all the Section 8 people. So only 2 people are not a part of the thing.
Wait a minute. So does this mean okay? Does this mean that Dangpa, as in the original Dangpa, no, Pike, the original Pike, was acting to be incompetent in the eyes of Wes?
Yes. Or just being targeted by Wes. So that whole part was an act. They weren't actually Rangers. They were all a part of the Spec Ops unit, a Special Operations unit. They were
But
all.
Wes aware of it though.
Who? Wes.
Okay.
Which is why he deliberately. Remember, when you first hear them, right, it's an introduction
Right.
to all new people.
Right.
You know.
Right.
So they're new recruits being sent on a hell mission. They've probably realistically done multiple times in their lives. But anyway, yeah. And they deliberately make themselves, well, the one guy, Pike makes himself weak in order, well, you could just say he got targeted to the point where he's weak. And then, yeah, the devil comes in and says, you look like you need some help. You know what I mean?
Yeah, let me offer you these drugs at least so that you can perform better. You can avoid, this whatever fatigue that's hit,
Yeah, exactly.
by the balls and all of that. It makes so much. You can tell that these guys were so meticulous in their plan that they knew it was not going to fail.
Exactly. Now you can take away points because, again, a lot of what we're talking about is almost too much energy. You know what I mean?
Like I wonder how long this writer took to subvert so many expectations? Like, did he spend a year, 2 years?
Who knows, man?
Because this is detailed writing at its core.
Exactly. But to manage to get 6 people to trick. How did Mueller get shot though? Like, what was that story about? Like, what happened there?
Yeah, the questions that I'm asking myself is, okay, obviously styled poisoned Kendall, because that's where we actually got the reveal that style
Yeah.
poisoned Kendall, so that Kendall doesn't blab, right?
Yes.
And I guess that means that Kendall was not necessarily a bad person.
Yeah. Because Mueller isn't there at the end, right? Mueller was actually, yeah, Mueller's not there at the
No, Miller died. Miller died at the field.
end.
Yeah, he was killed by Dunbar.
Yes,
I mean, by Pike.
exactly. So that means none of the stories were true. It was all faked out. So what? Maybe they caught them and then, no, because Kendall never doubts that Thingamajiggy's in on it. So I think maybe they try to sneak up on Mueller, and then that whole scene where he catches the gun, maybe that actually did happen. But then maybe Thingamajiggy didn't spray the room. Like, that part is confusing. See what I mean? So this part is imperfect. So there are parts of it that are imperfect,
Right.
but at the same time, there are so many good parts and so many ups and downs, and so this great intensity that
And
does, yeah.
it's so ironic that the movie is called Basic with a storyline that is anything but basic.
Very good play on words, man. Very good play. Basic training, yeah.
Right,
Turns out it's training us.
right,
Yeah.
right, right. It's oh man, the what's this word that I'm looking for? It's like a double entendre of everything,
Yeah.
basically.
And I'm
Yeah.
sure you find a triple entendre there.
Yeah,
Yes.
no, no, definitely. Like how you were saying that it was reverse psychology. Like
Yeah.
everything is just layers of. This is I guess you could say this is a Christopher Nolan movie before Christopher Nolan made movies, or a Christopher Nolan movie before Christopher Nolan became mainstream.
Yes. Exactly. This is Tenet 1.0. Exactly.
Yeah, 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 exactly. But yeah, man, is there anything that you want to say before we shut it down?
I'm good, man.
Okay. No, same here. Guys, thank you for staying for this long. We apologize if you were a bit turned off by that Karate Kid segment, but man, we enjoyed it. I mean, you can tell that, like he mentioned, I think this is the first time we actually mentioned that term, that we're cinephiles, you know what I mean? So we just love film, we love series, we like
So
dissecting all these things. Pardon?
we love storytelling.
Yes, and there's something that I wanted to talk to you about just before we close. I do know that Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson have been in other movies apart from Pulp Fiction. I guess maybe they were trying to recreate the magic, but do you think there's any film that they've done together that really captures the same magic as Pulp Fiction? I'm assuming this was supposed to be one of them. Although they made sure not to show them together.
Oh, not until the end. Yeah,
Yeah,
sadly. Only
kind of
like
like
the final scene. But
kind of
they have energy.
kind of
That
like
yeah, yeah.
kind of like in Heat, where we
Al
know
Pacino and
two
yes.
prolific actors, right, that would
Mhm.
like to see them in the same film. This is Pacino and De Niro, and in The Godfather they were not together because Vito, in The Godfather Part Two, because Vito is a younger version and Michael is an older version, so it's two different timelines. But then when you see them together on the table in Heat, that's the first time we see them together on screen.
And
And
it's perfection.
yeah, so it's like it becomes this.
They push each other.
Yeah, they push each other. It's a brilliant scene, you know. And anybody could have played the other person's character, and it still would have worked. It's chef's kiss. So I'm thinking maybe this guy also did the same thing. It's like, okay, I'm gonna redo what happened in Heat, but instead I'm not gonna make them villains. I'm not gonna make them each other's enemies. I'm just gonna show what you wanted to see. Because obviously, if you see the promotional material and you see a poster with Travolta and Samuel L. Jackson, you're like, this is probably the same magic that we probably saw in Pulp Fiction. And you're waiting the entire movie only to see the interaction at the end.
And it's a short, but it's sweet. I think them knowing each other, being there, forces each other to, like, you know what I mean? Like, I think it works either way. Like, just having them there, just having top-notch actors just there.
Because they already have the chemistry, right? They already have on-screen chemistry. So the director knew this. It's like, look, I already know this. There's no need for you guys to have a lot of scenes together. You guys are just going to kill it. The moment I say action with you guys in the same room, it's done.
Exactly. And also, think of it like this. There's two teams. There's team one, which is the base, and there's team two, which is the island. You want the best case scenario is to have your best players on each team. So one team, Samuel Jackson rocks team one, John Travolta rocks team two.
Right.
And I think that's the best way. Yeah, we don't get to see them bounce off each other, which is sad. But at the same time, they elevate the writing. It would have been a worse movie without them.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I agree with you. Yeah, because I've noticed that these movie discussions, most of them are either around the same running time as the movie that we're discussing, or they go a bit longer than the movie itself. So I just hope one day all the stuff that we're doing will be archived somewhere and people will watch this later. Because, like we said, you and I were joking the other day, but it's true. We don't have DVD commentary anymore in these movies, so this is basically the best commentary that you can find, under such circumstances.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching African Frame. We'll definitely see you on the next one. From myself, Mr. Extraordin, and from Rob Sibeko. Guys, it's just to give you guys an idea of how long we do these things for. This is 20 to 1 now, a.m. So if you see us yawning with red eyes and looking sleepy, it's because it's extremely late. But anyway, we'll see you next time. Cheers.
Oh, man. Cheers.